Welcome to the Saturday Football Show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Our reporters every Saturday bring you the comprehensive roundup of half-time action, full-time, and of course the reaction from the managers and players involved in the Scottish Premiership. In the company of Alan Ruff, I'm Peter Martin. Delighted to have your company. If you hit the subscribe button, you can join the football family as well. We'll be delighted to hear your thoughts on your team's performance today, and of course give us your reaction to some of the stories that have emerged on this Saturday. There's lots of things we'll be discussing throughout the show. No away fans at the two remaining Old Firm League games. Ange Postecoglou says it's time that some teams just actually aspire to be better to try and break the control that the Old Firm seem to have on the trophies. And also we'll discuss footballers and dementia a little later on in the programme. But managers, players and reaction as well is what we will bring you. The half-time scores across the country. Well, one full-time score was the early kick-off at Fir Park. It finished Motherwell 2, Rangers 4 for the summary of the 90 minutes and beyond. Here's Alison McConnell.
Motherwell 2, Rangers 4. Rangers emerged victorious from a 6-goal thriller at Fir Park after having to work hard for the points against a spirited Motherwell side. James Tavernier cancelled out Kevin Van Veen's early opener to send the teams into the break on a level footing. Fashion Sakala headed Rangers in front almost immediately after the break before Bevis Mugabe restored parity just before the hour mark. Rangers, however, stepped it up a gear with Todd Cantwell putting them in front again before Malik Tillman netted arguably the goal of the afternoon when he unleashed a venomous effort from the edge of the box when he collected from Alfredo Morelos. Callum Slattery's second yellow card of the afternoon meant that Motherwell finished the game with 10 men. You can catch up with all the player and manager reaction from a breathless afternoon on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel.
Yes, Saturday afternoon. Thanks to Ali for that. We'll hear from Michael Beale and Stuart Kettlewell shortly. The half-time scores elsewhere, of course. It's been an enthralling 45 minutes up at Pittodrie. Aberdeen are 3-0 up on Hearts. What a scoreline that is, Ruffy.
I don't think anyone saw that one coming. We spoke about it during the week. I think Hearts have been off the boil there for a wee while. And today, they were grinding out results. They were getting wins and getting draws. But again, today I think Aberdeen have just been too good so far.
Yeah, what about Tannadice? Dundee United against St Mirren. Our reporter Claire Kinnaird watched the first half.
Dundee United 1, St Mirren 0 is how it's looking half-time at Tannadice. United took the lead after just 3 minutes. The ball was spending some time being headed backwards and forwards between the teams. Stephen Fletcher catches it from Richard Taylor's touch and volleys it low past Trevor Carson. There were a couple of other chances for Jim Goodwin's side, including a long shot from BH that just skimmed wide. Curtis Main had a chance for St Mirren after Loic Aina stumbled, but he sent it right into the arms of Mark Birigiti. Half-time at Tannadice, Dundee United 1, St Mirren 0.
So good news there for Jim Goodwin's side. He said he wanted them to battle, and they are battling. What about down there at Rugby Park? There's another side that need to battle to win points. That's Derek McInnes's Kilmarnock, and down there for us is Patrick Mullen.
Half-time here at Rugby Park, and it's Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 0. They got the opener in the 37th minute. It came from a free kick off the left-hand side by Jordan Jones. It's a deep ball into the back post, and St Johnstone goalkeeper Remy Matthews must be thinking it's flying out of play because he decides to leave it, and at the back post there is Joe Wright, who sneaks in and pokes the ball home. Kilmarnock actually thought they had taken the lead in the 18th minute. Kyle Vassell had the ball in the back of the net, but after a VAR review it found that while he was controlling the ball, Vassell, he had handballed it to keep the score level. But Kilmarnock have the deserved lead in the first half. Callum Davidson is fuming at his side. He's pulled off James Brown in the 39th minute to hope that will make a change, but it won't be a happy team talk right now. But at half-time at Rugby Park, it's Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 0.
Well, you need to have those battling qualities, don't you, Ruffy?
Yeah, but Kilmarnock need that second goal. It was the same against Motherwell a couple of weeks ago. They were all over them. They were winning 1-0 in the last 10 minutes. I think Motherwell got that equaliser and they were on a right downer. So, at home they've been very good, and I think 3 points is what they need here. They don't need another draw.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be going to Celtic Park shortly to get the thoughts of Kerry Pollock. She's watching Celtic against Hibs. More drama in that game, 45 minutes, all packed in. We'll hear from Kerry shortly. And of course, out there, Livingston against Ross County. Livingston against Ross County is a match where Malky Mackay will be desperately hoping they can get some points to get them away from that bottom end. As for David Martindale, well, he's got that Livingston side looking to finish in the top 6. Adam Binney was there for us.
Half time here at the Tony Macaroni Arena. It's Livingston 2, Ross County 0. Goals from Newbley and Devlin putting the home side in front before the break. It was a fairly tame first half an hour or so, but it all sprung into life in the last 10 minutes of the half. Joel Newbley getting the all-important opener. It was some lovely work on the right hand side from James Penrice, chops inside of his man, delivers a beautiful ball to the back post, and there was Newbley just outstrengths Conor Randall and heads the ball back across goal as it lands into the bottom corner. And not even a minute later they made it 2. It was skipper Nicky Devlin who got on the score sheet. He had an initial attempt saved by Ross Laidlaw. The ball then fell to the edge of the box for Pittman lays it off, and there was the captain to deliver it into the bottom corner with outside of his right boot. Just slams it into the corner as he wheels away in celebration. Devlin loved that one, so did the manager David Martindale, and he'll be hoping for more of the same in the second half. Because at half time here at the Tony Mac, it is Livingston 2, Ross County 0.
Well, they're in command there, Ruffy.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think they had been off the boil a wee while, but home advantage, getting the goals. Nibbley coming up with a header. It's not really strength, a header. Everything's usually on the deck with him. You know, he's a hard one to get off the ball, but certainly they'll take it, and 2-0 up. It looks a long way back for Ross County.
Hibs are down to 10 men, Ruffy, but they've scored the all-important first goal in that match. Josh Campbell with a penalty after Starfelt pulled back Hanlon's jersey. Yeah,
it was a needless. I don't know why he did that. You know, there was 3 Celtic defenders in there. Hanlon was only the Hibs player, and it was a bit rash, but it was a penalty kick for me.
Yeah, and now Celtic just lay siege to that goal because it's going to be one-way traffic in the second half.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, really, Peter, I think Celtic would have preferred them to have 11 on the park, because now, you know, Hibs are going to get everybody behind the ball. There's going to be at least 8 or 9 players in that penalty box for the next 45 minutes, so sometimes it's harder to break them down, but Celtic have proved before that they just keep creating chances, and we'll have to see what happens.
2 yellow cards. I don't think Lee Johnson will be happy with Yuan for the second one for the foul on Carter Vickers.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one again. You know, I think Carter Vickers, his head was practically down on the ground when the boy put his boot up. You know, it's a sore one. You know that, but if he meant the kick, then he deserved the second yellow card. I'll have to have a look at that one.
Yeah, okay. We'll try and get you a look at it then, Ruffy. Okay, keep you up to date with everything that's happening at Celtic Park. So there you have it. That's the story of what's happening in the Scottish Premiership at the moment. Elsewhere in the Scottish Championship, we'll keep you up to date with what's happening in the second half of those matches that are underway now, about 9 minutes gone of it. But Hamilton 0, Ayr United 2, Partick Thistle 0, Dundee 0. That's a tense one for you, Ruffy. Queen's Park 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, and Raith Rovers 2, Cove Rangers 0. As far as League One is concerned, Airdrieonians 5, Peterhead 0, not going according to plan for David Robertson as the manager at Peterhead. Alloa Athletic 1, Clyde 0, Dunfermline 0-0 with Edinburgh. Kelty Hearts are 1 up in Montrose, and it's Queen of the South 1, Falkirk 0. And in League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose and East Fife is 0-0. Dumbarton 0, Albion Rovers 4. Such a significant result because Ruffy had Dumbarton in a sweep, and it's not going well for you, Ruffy.
No, it certainly is. I had and another team to choose, you know, and unfortunately I've taken Dumbarton, and it doesn't seem to be going well. But there's another 45 minutes, so you never know.
Yeah, waterlogged pitch between Elgin City and Stenhousemuir. Forfar 1, Annan Athletic 1, and Stranraer 0, Stirling Albion 1. As far as the English Premier League is concerned, well, of course, last night Newcastle left it late. It was Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 2. Here today, Aston Villa are a goal up in Bournemouth 4 minutes into the second half there. Brentford 1, Leicester City 0, Southampton 0, Tottenham 1, and Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Leeds Leeds United 1, Chelsea against Everton is the 5:30 kick-off tonight. So give us your reaction to that. Thank you to so many of you who obviously like to get involved in the Saturday afternoon show. Give us your reaction to some of the decisions that have been made. Was it a red card for Johan? Do you think Hibs have been hard done by? And what about Rangers, their journey to Fir Park? A 6-goal thriller, Ruffy, and more than a few contentious decisions, because VAR and that line that's been drawn to check whether a player is onside or offside, my God, both of them were close.
Yeah, well, you'll have to explain to me why we now have a red line and a blue line. You know, because I thought it was just the one line, you know, but now I obviously saw it on the television. I actually thought he was offside, marginally.
Which one?
I thought the ball that came across the...
For Motherwell?
Yes. No, not for Motherwell, for Rangers.
Right.
I thought he was offside before he put the ball into the box.
Okay.
You know, I thought that was really, really marginal. But apart from that, you know, I don't think... What other ones are you talking about? The sending off?
Well, Motherwell got a goal because they broke down the right-hand side, crossed it over, Van Veen scored. Was that onside?
Oh, no, I thought it was a great goal.
Yeah.
A super goal, yeah.
Okay.
Took it well.
Okay. What about Callum Slattery? Was it a red card?
Well, it's a hand. It's out there, you know, and unfortunately it hit him in the face. And if you go by the letter of the law, I suppose it is a yellow card. You know, it's a harsh one, but I don't think you can be doing that. I don't think you can be, you know somebody's there, you know they're behind you. If you throw a hand out there and you accidentally hit them, it's just your luck, really.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you, it's Wraith Rovers 3, Cove Rangers 0. Ryan Nolan scoring the goal in that match. What about a quick update on that 45 minutes at Celtic Park? It's just getting underway at the start of the second half, but here's what Kerry Pollock made of the first 45 minutes.
Half time here at Celtic Park, and it's the 10 men of Hibernian that lead here at the break after 40 minutes. That was filled with chances for Celtic through Kyogo, who was denied by an excellent save from David Marshall. Matt O'Reilly's header was just directed far off the post, and then Carl Starfelt's header smacked off the crossbar. Around the 40-minute mark, Hibernian were awarded the penalty, much to the surprise of all of us here in the press box and the majority of fans in the stadium. But it seems as though Carl Starfelt tugged the jersey of a Hibs player, and it was Josh Campbell that stepped up to the spot and sent the ball into the back of the net to give his side the lead. You can feel the frustrations from the Celtic fans surrounding the stadium going into the break. A big 45 minutes coming up for Ange Postecoglou's side. I'll be back at full time with another update as it stands here at Celtic Park. Celtic 0, Hibernian 1.
Okay, that's the quick update on all the first half games in the Scottish Premiership. I think Aberdeen are absolutely battering Hearts. I don't think too many people saw that. Certainly Duke scoring 2 is going to catch the attention of the back pages. He's certainly playing well at the moment, very much a talisman for Aberdeen. Ruffy's with me today. I don't know if you're aware of this, on a Saturday now, Ruffy, because we can interact and people obviously react. People are delighted to see you on
Good,
Saturday,
yes.
and then you open your gob about the offside and then they go, bring back Tam. So there you are. At least you're getting an opinion on a Saturday.
Yeah, I thought it was marginal, you know, that, but again, you know, I thought, when I saw it the first time, I thought it was offside, and then when I had a chance to look at it, it is really, really tight, and VAR made the decision. You've got to stand by it.
Yeah, okay. Rangers get the points. 4-2, good win. Obviously a few shaky moments in it, but Michael Beale well happy with the goals tally. Thought they should have scored more.
I suppose the only frustration today, similar to away against Hibs, is we should be scoring more, you know, in the same way at Hearts, but we're scoring 3s and 4s away from home. It's not an easy thing to do, but we're capable of getting 2 or 3 more goals today. I thought at the end there, if we're a little bit more ruthless, that was what would have happened.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game to watch. It had everything that you would want in a Scottish game. I mean, that's when we should be shouting from the heavens. Yeah. This is what we have, that passion. People want to go to the game, they want to watch it. Motherwell had a go. We can't accuse them of parking the bus.
No, they certainly did, and I think the Rangers manager there's looking at Morelos. I thought he should have had a couple of goals, he had a couple of free headers in the box. But the thing that I took out of that game was what a fantastic Rangers crowd in that stand. And we spoke about it yesterday in the show, you know, clubs not letting away sport get into the grounds. You know, I thought the Rangers support made that game the day, that took the whole stand, and they gave that game a bit of atmosphere. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was, Ruffy, and I know you're referring to that because quite simply, I think Celtic have tried to push Rangers to give them a 7,000 allocation for the match at Ibrox. They're not going to budge at the moment, and now we have a situation where there will be no away fans at both the final league games between Celtic and Rangers, which I think is sad, but it's indicative of the way these clubs go about their business at times, when they just basically are holding the game back, pandering to what I would suggest is a minority of supporters who don't want the away fans in there. And really the game as a spectacle is all about supporters of the opposition coming at either ground. It's fantastic when you've got 7,000 Rangers fans at Celtic Park. I can tell you, Jota has scored from the penalty spot. Celtic were awarded a penalty. The referee had a quick check to see if there was a handball, and he pointed to the spot, and up stepped Jota to score the goal. So Celtic absolutely delighted to get back on level terms, and you would imagine, Ruffy, with Hibs with only 10 men, they're going to be up against it.
Yeah, they are going to be up against it. Depends. I mean, in situations like this, what you do is you work in the training ground, you know, if this scenario happens, you know, but it's the tiredness at the end of it. I mean, Celtic are going to be relentless. I would think the last 10, 15 minutes, most of the Hibs boys will be on their legs, and I think that's when Celtic will possibly catch in. Yeah. But it's going to be a long second half for them.
Yeah, I think they were having a look at the handball, but now it's emerged that Paul Hanlon had sent Cameron Carter-Vickers tumbling in the box, and it's a penalty. Jota stepped up. It's 1-1, and as Ruffy says, it's going to be a long afternoon for Hibernian now, trying to defend it all square at 1-1. I have to say that Aberdeen 3, Hearts 0. Matty Pollock was looking for his second goal as well. Didn't quite materialise, but they're still 3-0 in front. Pollock and Duke with 2 goals. This is, absolutely massive, because quite simply there's another little question that will be raised at the end of this, Ruffy, which is, should Barry Robson be given the nod? Because suddenly Aberdeen seem to be up for the fight for third.
Yeah, they certainly do, and he's doing nothing wrong. You know, it's a fantastic run they're on. I would think, I don't think Aberdeen will be in a rush, you know, to get a new manager. I think it's only fair that they let him go to the end of the season, you know, and if he continues the results he's getting, you know, that should be good for him and for Aberdeen.
Yeah, what about Motherwell in that match? They put up a really brave fight, battled away, got 2 goals. Kevin Van Veen, I think that's 18 for the season, Ruffy. You can't knock him.
No, you can't. He took it well. He actually took it well with his wrong foot, but I mean, it was a clinical finish, good ball into the box, and a good finish. And I think when Motherwell go back into the game, I thought they were going to take something out of that, but no, Rangers were relentless. They kept creating chances, and I agree with the Rangers manager. They should have scored another 2 or 3.
Yeah, as far as Motherwell are concerned, Stuart Kettlewell, not a happy man about the red card.
Again, a wee bit of clarity on Callum Slattery's second yellow card, which again, if you see the footage, there is contact, but I think he's trying to protect the ball. He's not really getting awareness of the guy that's behind him, and I think that the contact's made on Cantwell's shoulder, so that becomes really frustrating, and a number of factors, not just the score line and the chances they have at the end. It was just more that I felt that we were well involved in a game.
Yeah, it was a soft penalty, to be perfectly honest with you, but Rangers were well deserving of their 3 points on the day. 4-2 it finished. A lot of people, thanks to SML, I'm only kidding, I love Ruffy, and he does go on to say, Peter, as a Rangers fan, we need to get rid of Douglas Park. He's holding the club back. Well, interestingly enough, Ruffy, prior to that match kicking off today, the Rangers fans put up a banner which basically called again for time for change. So clearly, on a regular basis now, there is a section within the Rangers support who are voicing their displeasure and showing their displeasure with banners saying it's time for change, it's time for, and they know they need investment with somebody else to come in and put money in and take them on to another level.
Yeah, I think that's the problem for the Rangers supporters. They can't get their head round of the amount of money that came into the club with the great run in the Europa, the selling of Bassey, the money that was coming in. They think there was a large lump sum of money there. I don't know what the figure they thought that was there, maybe 40-50 million, and then they think it wasn't spent wisely and it hasn't been bringing in the players that they expected. But I think we all know that for that fantastic run that they had in the Europa, there was a lot of people invested in the club, and quite rightly so. They all put their money where their mouth is to get Rangers where they were. and these people had to be paid back, you know, and basically I think that's where a large bulk of the money went. But you know, I think some supporters just aren't going to let it go. They're not happy with what's happening behind the scenes.
Airdrieonians 6, Peterhead 0. On such occasions with 63 minutes gone, managers sometimes can lose their job on a heavy one like that.
Yeah, it's the sevens, the dreaded one, isn't it? You know, and they're just, they haven't been playing well at all. You know, obviously they lost their manager, you know, things aren't going well, and they used to be quite a hard place to go up there, but Airdrie are flying just now. No, Airdrie, you know, will think they can get into the playoffs, and let's see what happens after that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a Saturday football show, and as ever, we like to throw out a wee quiz question as well as our competition. The quiz question is a good one, Ruffy. I've decided to mix it up this week, so basically I'm going to give you 3 clues to who am I.
All right.
Okay, and you've got to try and guess who I am, and then of course we'll give the answer at the end of the programme. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. I played for St Mirren, Falkirk and Motherwell. I started out as a midfielder and I moved up front. I won the Golden Boot and Player of the Year, but not necessarily at one of those clubs.
That's the first clue.
That's your 3 clues. That's your 3 clues.
Can you break them down? What's the first one?
I played for St Mirren, Falkirk and Motherwell. I started as a midfielder. I moved up front. I won the Golden Boot. I'm not saying at which club he won that Golden Boot, and he was Player of the Year. So there you are. Have a wee think about that, and you know, you might be able to give us the answer by the end of the. Have you got somebody in mind?
Possibly, yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
You've now got a clue of the year now.
That gives it away, by the way. Yeah. It's within the last 23 years. Okay. Does that help you?
Yeah, a wee bit.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. And I think, thank you to quite a few people who have mentioned, I think Niall, who's a big Motherwell fan, says there was also a protest there from the Motherwell fans as well, but I can't quite remember what the angst was from the Motherwell fans with regards to the protest, but certainly fans want to be heard, and sometimes it takes a banner, sometimes it takes, you know, just showing the board that you're not happy with certain things that are happening in the club. So with that in mind, what's your thoughts on the Old Firm game? I mean, 2 games left, one at Celtic Park, the other one at Ibrox, and you know, we all are aware that there's the semi-final, which will be a brilliant spectacle with 50-50 split of fans. But when you're at these games and they're so crucial towards a league title, okay, yes, Celtic have got that 6-point advantage now, which could be 8 by the end of this match today against Hibs. But it's still crucial, and Rangers fans will want to see it. You want to go and see it. You know, I don't know about you, but going to away grounds is part of the fun and the joy of football. It's that whole match day experience.
Yeah, I've already said, you know, I thought the Rangers fans today made it a spectacle. I thought they were in full voice, singing the right songs, you know, and getting right behind their team, enjoying the win, and it just showed you how much it meant to the game. You know, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I'm not saying it's ever going to happen, but imagine Hibs and Hearts all of a sudden decided, right, you know, Celtic and Rangers fans aren't going to get into any of our games. We're just going to let Hibs supporters in. There'd be an outcry, you know, of stopping Rangers and Celtic fans getting into away grounds.
Yeah, here's one to savour, Ruffy. Grant Savoury has scored for Queen's Park against Inverness. Sorry for that one, I'm sitting in Tam's chair. I thought I'd just bring the whole show down. So it's 1-1 now between Queen's Park and Inverness. It's one-way traffic, no surprise at the match between Celtic and Hibs. Celtic won, Hibs won. Jota's equalised from the penalty spot after Josh Campbell had put Hibs ahead in the first half. Hibs down to 10 men, they're up against it. Youan's been sent off for a second yellow in that first half. The second one, a tackle on Cameron Carter-Vickers. So on the Saturday afternoon, we always like to give you a chance to win, your last chance on the Saturday to win the full week's competition prize, and here's how you can enter.
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend Davy Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
with a header.
Yeah. What was that you were saying, Ruffy? Yeah.
I was saying it's going to be one-way traffic. David Marshall is going to be a big player. Big player. Today he's already had 2 fantastic saves in the first half. So it remains to be seen what he can do in the second.
Sean Maxwell says Rangers and Celtic need to fix this. We need both sets of fans. Sean, you're absolutely right. I like people's honesty. Chris Andrews says, who am I? I haven't got a clue. Simple as that. That's what we need. We need a little bit of honesty with regards to these quiz questions. Some you get it right and wrong. And of course, as long as you don't look it up, then that's what we want. We want you to have a real go at it. And there's lots of games that we'll be keeping an eye on right across the whole of the Scottish Premiership and the lower leagues as well. I think the key games as far as the Championship you're watching, Ruffy, is Partick Thistle against Dundee, still 0-0.
Yeah, I think the two of them are kicking lumps at each other accordingly, and a big win for either two here is going to be massive. I thought Queen's Park had got a wee bit nervous, being up the top of the league, a couple of results haven't went well for them. I always thought Inverness would come with a run, so that goal at Queen's Park stopped them a wee bit. So it just shows you, if everybody's drawn just now, the 3 points will be absolutely crucial, and well done to Ayr United, for coming back after their defeat in the quarter-final of the Scottish Cup.
Ange, as ever, just as you get to the hour, Abada and Bernabei thrown on. He's now bringing in the reinforcements to try and get that win.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10 it works. Fresh legs. There's going to be plenty of boxes, plenty of balls going into the box. Obviously, he's got an out-and-out big striker in there who's different from Kiego. So it'll be different to see what kind of quality balls they can bin there and see how many. If the Hibs defenders can defend it till the end. That's
what I missed about you on a Saturday, Ruffy. Sometimes Tam does it as well. If he forgets the pronunciation of a name, he just makes it up in his head. But Kyogo. What's been the most difficult name you've ever come across?
Morelos, for some reason.
You couldn't say Morelos.
What was I saying?
Morelos and everything.
Morelos.
But he come on today and he looked off it.
He did, but he had a couple of chances. He had a couple of headers. Maybe last year he'd have stuck them away. I mean, everybody goes on about his fitness, but certainly you don't need to be fit, to put the ball in the back of the net if your people in the wide areas are pinging in fantastic crosses and you get a free header. But no, it never happened for him. But he's still playing them, which is encouraging, because we all know he will get goals.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 3 substitutes on for Celtic to try and get that winning goal. 1-1 at the moment. St Mirren have had a goal chalked off. They thought they were back on level terms against Dundee United. It's a strange old league, Ruffy, because as I look at it, Aberdeen have answered the call at home. They clearly want 3rd place, and they've got a man there who wants the job as manager. Elsewhere, you're saying to yourself, can Dundee get off the bottom of the table? Well, to do that, the results need to go for them elsewhere. But Kilmarnock are winning. The only club that is looking at the results this afternoon and thinking, oh dear, we could be in real trouble here, is Ross County, or 2-0 down to Livingston.
Yeah, I thought they put up a better fight today at Livingston. I thought the team had gathered what it really means to be down there, and they need to put in a performance, but it hasn't worked for them. But he'll be looking at his home games, he'll be looking at the other games that he needs to win. So I think the split's going to be really exciting this year, really. Absolutely. I really do.
The positive side is that Newbley and Nicky Devlin have scored 2 great goals for Livingston. Richard Taylor had a goal chalked off for St Mirren, but now they've got a penalty. What a chance to draw back on level terms with that match. Keep it locked here to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and I can tell you right now, St Johnstone have equalised. It's Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1. Dre Wright has scored, and can I just say to you, Ruffy, in 1 minute of a game at one end of the Scottish Premiership, it can all change so dramatically.
Yeah, and Derry McInnes are absolutely pulling his hair out. The same thing happened against Motherwell. They were so dominant. They were 1-0 up, looking for the second goal, couldn't get it, and then one flash of brilliance, and all of a sudden they're losing 2 points. I mean, there's still a wee bit to go in this game. They still will think that they can get another goal, but it just shows you, when something like that happens in a game, confidence goes, heads go down, so you need big players in your team to dig yourself out of it.
Ruffy, Livingston 2, Ross County 1. Simon Murray, it's a long VAR check, Ruffy, but it's in.
Well, I mean, there's always, You know, when you get a goal like that, you know, I think 2-0 and a score line is always the worst one, because you know if you lose a goal, your back's against it. You need that third goal if you're winning 2-0 to give yourself a wee bit of comfort.
Yeah. How difficult will it be for Hibs and their players today, Ruffy? Because when you get the ball suddenly up into the Celtic half, you just got to hold it up and try and give everyone a breather.
Yeah, but we know the way Celtic play, they're going to get the ball into wide areas, they're going to flash the ball across on the ground, but now that might change. Substitutions have gone on, they've got an out-and-out striker on there, the balls might be getting delivered a wee bit higher up in the air. That might suit the Hibs defenders, that might suit the way they play. So I think it's going to be really, I think it's tiredness more than anything else. You know, I think once Hibs use all their substitutes, that's when it's going to take its toll. Yeah, sometimes there are questions that we just can't answer when people put the point to us on the show, Ruffy, and the reason why is because it's so difficult. And here's one from David Canavan, who says, I'd like to know how many regular viewers you have from Spain. And I thought it was 3,732, but I'm not sure if we've got all the expats who are out there tuning in right now. But if David could get his finger out, we'd have a lot more. Well, it would be nothing better than sitting in the sun, wouldn't it? And sitting beside a wee pool with a wee beer, you know, and listening and watching the game. And a tennis racket, Ruffy. And a tennis racket, would be good. Yeah, that'd be very tiring, by the way. I've done it. Is that right? I think it's very tiring. Am I going to find super fit? I was going to say to you, am I going to find it difficult when I go out there? No, I think your fitness levels are getting up, so you'd be fine. I can tell you, Mark O'Hara has scored from the spot, so what a big goal that is. Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1. Yeah, I mean, it just shows you how tight it is, you know, top and bottom, you know, the pressures from everybody, you know, and that's a sore one for Dundee United. They need to get 3 points and they need to win that game. I like Chris Andrews. His point here is, I'm afraid I want Celtic to win. That'll help Aberdeen. There's always got to be a vested interest, Ruffy. Is that fair? When you want clubs that maybe you're not keen on, but if they can do you a turn. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the Rangers supporters will be watching this game if they get a chance to see it and hoping that Celtic drop points. Yeah. I mean, that's what supporters are all about. And if they only get 1 point today, I know it's still 7 points, but it's a deficit cut. And with the Celtic Rangers game coming up, there's always, if you're in a team and you're a supporter, there's always hope. You've got to keep clinging on to hope. Yeah, but I think the result of the day that deserves the best praise will be up at Pittodrie, because I don't think anyone would have looked at it and said, well, wait a minute, Aberdeen, yep, Barry Robson's been good, Scott Brown has backed him and said he should be given the job. They're certainly taking their time, there's no rush on it. He's undoubtedly got to be a consideration when you consider what they're doing at the moment. I mean, 3-0 against Hearts, whether they're off the boil or not, that is a superb result. And of course they've got players who are suddenly responding. You know, why they just suddenly respond to someone who's been there as a coach. But Duke's got a couple, Pollock's got one, they're 3-0 up. Yeah, Duke's the one they're going to have to try and hold on to. You know, he's been brilliant since he came in. Strong as anything, got a lot of pace as well about him as well, so I think Aberdeen will be hoping they can hold on to him, but I think there'll be a few clubs watching him because he's had a great season. Yeah, absolutely. Ruffy, was it painful sometimes when you did dive the right way for a penalty and you just nearly got it because apparently Jota's penalty squirmed under David Marshall's body? Yeah, I saw I mean, it is horrible. You know, the most relevant one with me was in Argentina with Holland. It was Robbie Rensenbrink. I thought I'd saved it, but it went in. Just crawled into the bottom corner of the net, and believe it or not, I got a plaque after that. It was something like the 1000th goal in the World Cup or something like that. Is that right? Yeah. A lovely plaque. Don't ask me where it is. No, but I know. I knowing your house as I do, there's no danger I'm going to ask you where it is. But what I will say to you is this: if you had saved that penalty, then we when Archie scored that wondrous goal, we'd have been 3-0 up. We'd have been through. So we would have, a goal difference. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it was a penalty in the first place. I thought Stuart Kennedy put in a good tackle and Rensenbrink, and I thought the referee reacted very quickly. Wasn't a penalty for me.
Can I just say, you know, I mentioned there that Aberdeen's result at the moment, well, their latest score is 3-0, which again is absolutely brilliant for Aberdeen fans. They'll be, I mean, that's what I love about Aberdeen. When you come out of that dugout, if you've won and you're on that crest of a wave, the walk down to the tunnel, the Aberdeen fans are all cheering. Yep. It's the loneliest walk when things are not going well, but certainly Barry Robson will be feeling, well, I've done my bit here, I can't do any more.
Yeah, and I think as long as he keeps the team winning, he's got to have a part to play at Aberdeen. I think a new manager coming in, you know, would want to bring his own team, but I think he's established himself with what he's done at the club so far to say, look, if a new manager comes in here, he has to be part of your team. You need to find something for him.
Yeah. Now, I would say this to you, Ruffy, although Aberdeen will be certainly an eye-catcher, the best result of the day will be if Hibs take a point away from Celtic, having played the entire second half with 10 men. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. It must be back to the wall, you know, and defending stoutly. You know, they've got defenders in there. But it's going to be a long second half. You know, there's usually 6 or 7 minutes on to the 90 minutes, so that'll make it even hard for them to defend.
Yeah, and Kyogo's had one cleared off the line as well, so it's these moments now where suddenly the Celtic fans will just be going, it's going to be one of those days.
Yeah, I know, but the Celtic fans will be sitting there, they've seen it before, they've seen teams sitting in and making it very, very difficult, and even with 5 minutes to go, the Celtic fans will still believe that somebody will come up with the goods. Sometimes it doesn't happen, so they'll really have to produce something.
Yeah, absolutely. David says, when you live abroad, this programme is a lifeline for football fans. It's always nice to get people from across there. And David hopefully has got a big villa with lots of spare rooms, Ruffy, because that helps us when on our trek across Europe.
It is, you know.
Without any accommodation costs.
No, it's always good if somebody's, you know, letting you come in, you know, into their environment. You know, it's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Absolutely.
It's good to be nice.
Yeah, we've had more than a few, and I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people that think it could be more for Aberdeen this afternoon. We will wait and see exactly what the situation is. If you are involved in our quiz, it's a fairly straightforward question. It's a who am I job today. I played for St Mirren, Falkirk and Motherwell. I started as a midfielder, but moved up front. I won the Golden Boot and the Player of the Year. Just quickly refer it.
Can I just say, what Golden Boot?
Oh, it could be the Golden Boot for that division.
Oh, sorry, I'm away looking at the European Golden Boot, and I'm going, who's going to win that?
No, it could be
Falkirk or whatever.
It could be the Golden Boot for that division. You know, it could be the top scorer in that division.
Right, okay. Right,
you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Which has that changed your mind?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. See, quite a. Who am I anyway? And
still don't know who it is, but
no, that's fair. No, but some people might think, oh, I know it now. Started out as a midfielder, moved up front, not naturally, maybe a centre forward to start with. Who knows? Give us your thoughts. Just referring to last night, Arbroath 1, Morton 1. Finished honours even, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think Dougie Emery wasn't too happy with his goalkeeper. I think he thought he could have done better, you know, at the goal they lost. But to miss a penalty kick when you're winning 1-0, you know, it's a crucial, and it would have brought Morton back into the equation, because I thought they were beginning to drop off a wee bit. But no, I think the point for Arbroath was better for them. You know, I think the Arbroath goalkeeper Gaston, I think his name is, he had a tremendous save. So no, that could be crucial at the end, because that's so tight down the bottom there with Cove and Hamilton and them.
I think a lot of Dundee United fans are not happy, Ruffy. They think that the St Mirren penalty should never have been a penalty. And again, you know, when you get situations like this, I always think to myself that, you know, when it's Celtic and Rangers, it's almost magnified tenfold, but it's every bit as legitimate a claim of anger towards a decision if it's a St Mirren you know, penalty that the Dundee United fans are angry with.
Well, I'm sure Jim Goodwin will be very vocal if he gets a chance to have a look at it, you know, and it is wrongly given, you know, because it's so crucial for a team like Dundee United. They can't afford for these sort of decisions to go against them.
Yep, we will probably have a look at that over the course of the weekend and discuss it on Monday's programme, when we'll have a new prize in our competition, Ruffy. And I have to say, this one's a belter, because we've got a prize that I think every Hibs fan will want to get their hands on. You know, That's all I'm saying to you. But it's, you know, we cater for everybody.
Yes, we do.
We've got a Hibs prize. We've got a Hearts one coming up. We'll have something from Motherwell. You name it. We've got some fantastic items from all the Premier League clubs. We like to give them away, and as well as answering a simple question. Sometimes if you hit the subscribe button, you're in there as well with a double chance.
Yeah, and we've seen the joy in people's faces as we take the prizes to them. It means a lot.
Yeah.
And
I get a bit worried though sometimes, Ruffy. We get into some places and we chat the door, you know, two guys of our age roaming about an estate with sometimes a big giant package is not a good idea, Ruffy.
It's a bit worrying in Motherwell, the other one, yeah. But at least we go to the right door.
Exactly. You know, it's always a worry. People start phoning the police and saying there's two Egypts roaming about in the area. We're trying to hand out a prize, trying to do somebody a good turn. Thank you to so many of you who wish us all the best on a Saturday, and of course keeps you up to date. Celtic are laying siege to the Hibernian goal, and I'll tell you, with 15 minutes left, it will be agony for David Marshall and the rest of the Hibs players. They're putting in a real shift, Ruffy.
It will be. You know, there'll be a lot of comment in the sending off, obviously, from the Hibs point of view. But certainly, you know, that when you defend so well, you know, if you were to lose a goal late on in any game, you know, it's a horrible feeling to take. But they're doing okay just now. They're hanging on in there.
Good question coming up for you, Ruffy, from Sean Maxwell. But I'm going to say to you that Kaiser has says John McMaster has a new book coming out, Peter. Well, I know that because we had John McMaster in here talking about that run to Gothenburg. It really is a brilliant one-to-one, and John was very kind on that day because he brought in his strips, which was just a real trip down memory lane for me, Ruffy. It was like the brilliant tracksuits they used to wear, the Adidas ones, Aberdeen. He brought in his Cup Winners' Cup shirt. He had everything in a suitcase, opened it up, and then of course he brought in all the medals as well. And it's absolutely fantastic to see some of the medals that he's won in his career. It's a great one-to-one on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and he's a player, you know, that from an outside looking in, he doesn't get a lot of credit. All the credit goes to Jim Leighton and Willie Miller and Alec McLeish and Wee Gordon, you know, but he was a big player for Aberdeen, super player, very gifted player, and could play in a lot of different positions.
Yeah, Sean Maxwell says, who do you think is going to be the Scotland #1 next week?
I think it all depends on the training. I think it depends. The goalkeeping coach will have a big say in it. You know, none of them have got any caps. You know, none of them are, you know, establishing themselves. You know, it's hard to say, you know, which one it's going to be because, as I say, none of them have done anything at a higher level. So it's going to be a big shout. I don't like the shout that it'll be Gunn because he's playing in a better league than us, that kind of thing. I hope that's not. I think it should be judged in how the three of them look in training that week of the game.
Gary Connor says, has any subscriber from abroad won a prize? Well, the answer to that is emphatically yes, Ruffy, because I had to pay for the packaging to send the thing there. Not that it was painful, because quite simply, thankfully, I don't pick the winners, which is a painful job at the best of times, but our backroom team get involved, look at all the entries, look at the subscribers as well, put it all in the mix and then pick out a random winner. And more often than not, I think we've had lovely messages back from competition winners saying thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, it's great to win a prize, isn't it?
Listen, I don't care. Even if the prize is ranked rotten, I'm delighted. I'd still keep it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
You ever won anything big?
No, particularly, no. No, but even if you go to big functions or dues or anything like that, it's always good to win a raffle or something. I had a poor raffle. I was up at Keith at a sportsman's dinner, and I put £10 in the envelope for the charity.
Yeah.
And they started reading out the prize winners, and I was so far away from the actual top table, and the boy pulled out my tenner and he went, Alan Rough, and I says to the chairman of the club, what is that I've won? And he said, oh, it's 2 season tickets for Keith. I went, oh, being kind-hearted, said, I'll just put that back in. It'd be better if somebody else won it from the region.
Yeah.
And when he put it back in, the boy said, oh, what a tremendous gesture from Alan Rough. It's a week-long stay at Skibo Castle and
No.
goal for 4 people.
No, you must have been spewing.
That was a nightmare. I still haven't recovered. That was a couple of years ago. But I was too far away to get my ticket back.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I know how you feel on that one. But I can't think if I've ever won anything big at a raffle. Not anything of any great note. Plus, of course, Ruffy, sometimes because I'm the host, I can't even take it. You couldn't take it, or even your name gets pulled out. Everybody thinks it's a fix.
Yeah, a story, a light-hearted story, and I don't think you'll mind me mentioning John Rowbottom.
Yeah.
Who did at Ayr United, who put a tenner in and won the prize, which he's quite entitled to do. If you put your money in, you win it, and I think he won £250 or something, and the whole audience was saying, put it back.
Yeah.
But quite rightly, the bold John never put it back, and he got up to speak, and the crowd turned against him.
Yeah, funny that. Celtic have scored. Has scored the goal, and I think they'll be playing Pilot Magic, because they'll believe that it's magic with eventually breaking through the resistance from Hibs.
Well, Ange again, you have to commend him for the substitutions he made. He's seen the strength of Celtic was getting the ball wide and firing it across the box. It wasn't happening. You know, he's changed his strikers. He's got a different kind of striker for the Hibs defenders to try and mark. And I think we're all being told that the boy's got a bit of quality. He's just a young player, but certainly scoring a goal. And if it is the winning goal, you know, the fans will have him up there.
Yeah,
really good striker.
I think that's a good point, Ruffy. Sometimes, though, you can score goals in a team when it's 4 and 5 and you've just been signed. But if you're scoring a significant goal that's a winning goal, then I think a lot of fans will look and think, absolutely brilliant. They'll be ecstatic about that from him.
Yeah, I mean, we saw when Giacomakis came into the Celtic team, everybody was raving about him, and lo and behold, he gets a penalty. He's trying to get the fans, you know, behind him, and he misses it, and then it takes him about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to get back in the groove again. But certainly this boy's come in, you know, it's his second goal, isn't it?
Yeah,
second goal,
maybe his third actually. So I think it's his third actually. He'll be absolutely delighted. Celtic are in front in that game, no surprise, because Hibs were battling away down to 10 men. Celtic were knocking on the door. Kyogo had one cleared off the line, no less, but they finally managed to get through there. And I think Sean Maxwell's got a good line. He says, the biggest prize I won was a fishing rod from British Gas. I gave it to my sister. Sometimes if you've got a prize, you can give it away if it's a Snyder.
I've got a cupboard in my room of some things that I've acquired, and the Christmas presents.
Yeah,
you just have to give them.
Oh, you give them away?
Yeah.
Well, I used to give away quite a lot of whiskey, Ruffy, because as you know, I don't drink whiskey, and people would give me bottles, you know, if I did them a turn, and I thought, I don't drink whiskey, but in the end, I think I could have turned my father-in-law into an alcoholic, the amount of whiskey I used to give him. Just on the case there, I still don't like it, Ruffy. Why do they book players for taking their shirt off? I mean, for God's sake, the game's an entertainment.
Rules are rules, unfortunately. You know, I think we don't agree with you know players jumping into the crowd, obviously for the health and safety thing, but taking off a jersey, I mean, who are you offending?
Yeah, exactly. See, the Adrionians...
If it was us, we'd be offending people.
Well, absolutely. This is highly unlikely. I'll be taking off my jersey, Ruffy. Although there are some times if you score a goal, you know, in my younger days there was a game we were playing where they were giving me pelters. I mean, absolute pelters in a game, non-stop, and because I'm that type of person that you love to hate, as you well know. So I managed to score in the last minute, and I went up and I gave them what for, as you do, Ruffy.
Yeah. You've got to. If you're giving it out, you've got to take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm that type of person. If somebody's giving me pelters, you better be ready to take it back, especially when we do the after dinner. Is that fair, Ruffy?
Yeah.
Although you really took the biscuit the other week there in Bowness.
Yeah, I lost it.
You did lost it.
I lost it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and I thought to myself, as I was sitting there at the top table and I heard you absolutely giving the boy pelters for talking through your act, I thought, Ruffy's losing it here. I don't think he's got a command of the audience that are absolutely completely bladdered and couldn't care.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 years ago it wouldn't have bothered me. It wouldn't have bothered me. I'm just getting older, you know, and just, you know, it's not. What's the word I'm looking for?
What?
For him, you know.
Moron.
Yeah. It's just not respectful.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you always say that. Look, guys, I know you've had a lot to drink, and if you don't want to listen to the speakers, go outside.
Absolutely.
I think easy.
I think that's a fair comment. Ronnie Chapman, remember Ronnie? I think Ronnie won your glove. Remember Ronnie won your glove, and he says, "I gave it to St Andrew's Hospice to raise money." That was a good shout, wasn't it?
Super
from Ronnie.
Yeah, I think it's always good if you donate something and you raise a lot of money for a worthwhile cause, and that is a worthwhile cause.
Yeah, absolutely. If it had been a car, Ronnie, I'd have held on to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have donated it if it was mine.
Absolutely. What do you make of the Champions League draw, Ruffy? As we fast approach, I'll tell you one thing, we're fast approaching the end of a number of these games as well. So before I ask you about the Champions League draw, can I just say to you, Ruffy, as I look at the way the whole thing is panning out at the moment, I think, you know, great credit to Aberdeen, brilliant scoreline from Pittodrie, 3-0 up on Hearts. Celtic have eventually got the breakthrough through O, who scored the goal to make it 2-1 against 10-man Hibs. Dundee United won, St Mirren won. I think there'll be an angry response from Jim Goodwin to St Mirren's equaliser. Stephen Robinson won't care. Kilmarnock thought they were on the way to 3 points, but Dre Wright had the equalising goal. It's 1-1 there going into the final minutes. Livingston, can they hold on to that 2-1 scoreline? And we've got some big news coming with someone special on our one-to-one mini documentaries coming up. I can tell you it's another penalty to Celtic, and I think that really will rub salt into the winds if that stands.
Well, I said to you earlier on, Peter, it's tiredness that creeps in. When you're down to 10 men, you're doing so much chasing, shutting the ball down, tired legs, and these are the kind of things that happen. You know, players just lunge in where they're not fresh. And it was always going to happen because, again, Celtic have had so much possession of the ball.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it here, Ruffy, and it looks as if Celtic have overturned that the decision has been overturned by the VAR, so it's no penalty now. So I think that's a real bonus because David Marshall had picked up a booking, and suddenly the VAR has helped the Hibs goalkeeper. So I would imagine
take the booking back.
Well, I would think so. It's got to be it's got to be rescinded after you can't book the goalie, give a penalty, and then all of a sudden, you know, rescind the decision. So I think David Marshall will look and say to the referee, hey, come up to me with a yellow card and just put your arms across and say no.
Yeah, I think you got it right. You know, if the VAR looks at it and says it isn't a penalty, then there's no reason to give a yellow card.
Yeah.
You know, but be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Celtic still leading by 2-1. Whether the referee, I think the referee will rescind that yellow card, to be perfectly honest with you. Hearts, miserable day for them. They're losing 3-0 to Aberdeen. Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1, Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1, and Livingston 2, Ross County 1. Elsewhere in the Championship, Ayr United 2-0 up on Hamilton Accies. It's Partick 0, Dundee 0, heading to a stalemate there, Ruffy. Queen's Park 2, Inverness Cally Thistle 1. And Wraith Rovers 6, Cove Rangers 1. That's full time there, and it's full time at Rugby Park as well. And it's Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1. And I think, you know, draws are not what you need when you're at the bottom end, Ruffy.
No, it's Derek McInnes will be absolutely fuming. You know, to be 1-0 up, and by all accounts, a one-way show there, and to throw 2 points away when it's just so crucial. So they were just looking at all the other results round about them.
Yeah, big scoring day in the League One as well. Airdrieonians 7, Peterhead 0. That's a very, very painful one. Alloa Athletic 3, Clyde 1 is full time as well. Into the last few seconds of Dunfermline against Edinburgh, that's 0-0. Kelty Hearts have lost to Montrose by 2-1. Just the last seconds of Queen of the South 1, Falkirk 0. Big win for Queens there against Falkirk.
It certainly is. Falkirk and Dunfermline, you know, chasing that championship with Dunfermline drawn. Falkirk were probably seen that was a wee chance to close that gap, but not so far.
What about Livingston winning 2-1, Ruffy, Ross County?
Yeah, it's a sore one for Ross County, but they haven't been good on the road. Put up a decent show against Rangers a couple of weeks ago, but I think they've got to look at their home games. The home games are the ones that are going to be crucial for them.
And if Dumbarton had won today, Ruffy, in that quadruple bet you would have been able to go out and order champagne, whiskey, had a right good night out with the wife tonight, but unfortunately they've been absolutely tonked 5-1 by Albion Rovers. What in God's name influenced you?
McManus.
Yeah.
McManus, next time I see him on Monday, he'll be getting a few words for me. I was quite happy with 3 teams, but he says, no, stick in another one. Dumbarton.
Yeah, absolutely. Niles just said to us there's 8 minutes of injury time in the Dundee United Mirren game. Well, do you want me to tell you something? I'm quite happy with that. I like to see the fans getting value for money.
And I read a wee story, not that I read that many stories.
Ruffy and reading sensation.
Who's the top referee? He's now the refereeing supervisor for FIFA, the Italian boy.
Pierluigi Collina.
Yeah, he had a meeting with all the European referees and really strongly advised them to add as much injury time on as they think's possible. He, like you, thinks there's too many people.
Well, cheating. It's as simple as that. It's that simple, Ruffy. And of course Gary Connor rightly points out, Ruffy, you've got a few 1-1s in the predictor. I wonder if this could be one of those fantastic weekends for you.
I don't know which ones I had 1-1.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you because you sent your predictions to the most obscure place ever, and I was actually looking at it. I was looking and I was
going... Kilmarnock 1-1, I think.
It's there. You had Motherwell 0, Rangers 2. You had Celtic 3, Hibs 0. You had Dundee United 2, St Mirren 1. Killie 1, St Johnstone 1. You had that. You had Livingston and Ross County and Aberdeen and Hearts' draws. So it's been a really bad weekend for you.
So I'm happy with the 5 points.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody.
You won't be happy if I've got 10 or 11. I can tell you, Celtic leading by 2-1. That one heading into the final few minutes of that game, and I think that Celtic will be happy to get out of that one. I think Lee Johnson is the type of man who'll come out and say, I can't fault my boys for what they've given me today.
I'm sure he'll have something to say about the second booking, the sending off. I thought it was a wee bit harsh, unless I get a chance to see it again, that the boy did actually make a kick at Cameron Vickers' face. It looked to me as if Cameron Vickers was on the ground and the boy just put his boot up to kick the ball, but have a second look at that maybe.
Yeah, can I just say, Ruffy, and I think Michael Beale deserves tremendous credit for it. Since Michael Beale came in with the squad that he's inherited, what he has instilled in this team is quite simply the never say die attitude, that ability to fight when things maybe don't seem to be going their way. They still manage to grind it out, and I think a lot of people might lose the fact that he's got something out of a squad that was, struggling with injuries, maybe not hitting the great form, and we're behind in the league. They've lost the League Cup to Celtic, but nevertheless in the league they are battling away, and they got that 4-2 win today.
Yeah, I think he's got the players responding to whatever he's doing in the training park. I think he's getting a wee bit more out of Ryan Kent. I think he's beginning to show some kind of form that we all thought he was going to produce. And remember, when Rangers bought him, it was 7 million, and we were looking at a £15 million player that hasn't really materialised. So he's got something, and I think if he's on his game, everybody else responds round about him. But no, I think he's got a settled defence, goalkeeper, back four, same back four all the time, which is always good. So it's a midfield that have just been getting tampered with here and there, but no, if you keep winning, it's always good.
Yeah, I'll get your thoughts on the Champions League draw and the Europa League and the Europa Conference League draw, and who you think is going to win it after the draw was made yesterday. And of course everybody now knows quarter-final and semi-finals as well. So I'll get your thoughts on that a little later, Ruffy. But we're heading towards the full times. If you are just joining us near or far, we are delighted. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We've got reporters all over the Scottish Premiership covering games for us, giving you the insight into the match. And I can tell you that of course we heard from Michael Beale and Stuart Kettlewell. Hopefully as the day goes on we might even be able to give you a little bit more from the managers and maybe the players from that game. I can tell you that Celtic have added another now. It's 3-1, Ruffy. I mean, it's
we
one
said
of
that at the beginning, didn't we? We said that if they don't get you the beginning of the game, they'll get you at the end of the game.
Yes.
You know, and certainly it's a trademark that they go right until the end, and Ange just said that. You know, it doesn't matter what team I put on the park, the boys know that there's 90 minutes plus whatever, and we will continue to attack from start to finish, and again that's what they've done. And okay, it's a wee bit easier, you know, against 10 men, but they've still done it.
Yep, absolutely. I certainly have got no points for Hibs Hearts, Aberdeen against Hearts, Ruffy, because I thought it was going to be a draw. I've got a couple of points for the Rangers game, couple of points for the Celtic, and I don't think I've got anything else other than a fiver, 5 points for Livingston 2, Ross County.
You got 5, you've got 9, I've got 9 as well.
Yeah, no, you've got 5.
I've got 5 and I've got Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah, so yeah, you get 9, yeah.
What's McManus got?
Well, who cares? He's so far out of it, it doesn't matter anymore. But I'm looking at that now. It was 7 additional minutes of injury time at Celtic Park, so clearly that third goal has certainly put everybody's just tension, I think, inside the ground in case Hibs managed to get up the park and somehow got an opportunity to get an equaliser, but it didn't materialise, and Celtic get that third goal. And I think one of the guys that scored the goal, I think, is going to be a big player for Celtic next season. He's coming off the bench more often than not at the moment, but I think he's going to be a big player. Haksabanovic.
Yeah, I'm glad you said his name and not me, but I agree with you 100%. Any time he's come on, he's looked good. Looks as if he's got a bit of pace as well. But and it's always good when you're only getting bit parts, you know, to come on and score, you know, because it gives the manager something to think about. You know, if he got 90 minutes, you never know what might happen.
Gary Connor says something which I think is going to be very, very true, Ruffy. He says the subscribers who are allowed to go into your predictor next season will make this show excellent, better for the fans because they can get involved. And I'll tell you, when we throw in prizes as well, Ruffy, what a predictor it's going to be next season.
Great fun, you know. You know all the guys here that take part in it. I mean, they all love it, you know, and it's great. You know, at the end of the day, you know, counting up your points and who's winning, who's at the back. But will they be part of the deal at the end? No, will they just be one-offs prizes?
No, they get. I think there'll be. I think we might look towards a weekly prize, a monthly prize, and then at the end of the season, I think we've got to get to a situation where the overall winner has got to meet up with the team and come to the studios, and of course get the bumper prize as well. Is that fair?
Yeah, fantastic. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so with that in mind, I can tell you it's full time at Rugby Park. Let's get the thoughts on this one from Patrick Mullen.
Full time here at Rugby Park, and it has finished. Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1. It's a second half Dre Wright strike that has saved a point for the visitors here. Kilmarnock took the lead in just the 37th minute. That all started from a Jordan Jones free kick on the left hand side. He's played a long ball into the box, and St Johnstone goalkeeper Remy Matthews must be thinking it's flying out of play. He decides to leave it, and there at the back post sneaks in is Joe Wright, who guides the ball into the back of the net to give Kilmarnock the lead into the first half. In the second half, St Johnstone got their equaliser in the 69th minute. That one was an absolute cracking strike by Dre Wright. His strike from outside the box flew into the bottom left-hand corner to give St Johnstone their equaliser. It set up a nervy 20 minutes still to play, but neither side could find the winner. So it's finished here at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1.
Yeah, looks as if Patrick's managed to find the worst backdrop ever in Rugby Park. Is that fair, Ruffy? It looks as if they're doing construction work behind them.
They actually are. They're doing a lot of
well, he must be on the build site. Need to get him a hat.
Yeah. No, he looked very comfortable there, didn't he? Did he have a jacket on?
Yeah, Patrick's a great lad, by the way.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. Love him on the show. Does a great job, and he'll be going there to get the thoughts of the managers as well. And also, I think Ronnie Chapman makes a great point here. He says, we should just take Hugh out, Peter, as he's never going to win it. Hugh's if only Hugh would predict Rangers for a win. I think, see if Hugh had predicted Rangers for a win, Ruffy.
Well, every 2 points every week.
Every week. I think he'd
26 points.
I think he'd be he'd be up the top.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
You know?
But I think everybody above him's quite happy with his attitude.
He's going to take us out for a meal. It's getting absolutely amazing. And quite a lot of people are giving us their thoughts on a number of topics with regards to Scottish football. It's over at Celtic Park, 3-1, Ruffy, the eventual full-time score.
Yeah, it didn't look as comfortable midway through that second half. I thought Hibs were doing particularly well. They were defending very well. They were getting people behind the ball. I think the manager, as we said earlier, will have something to say about the sending off.
Yeah.
But no, I thought for a wee while, but the second goal, obviously the penalty kick, turned things a wee bit, because there was nothing else Hibs could do. You know, they couldn't throw people forward. If they did throw people forward, they would have probably lost maybe more. So, you know, I think they'll take something out of the game, but they'll be really disappointed.
Yeah, what an afternoon in the Scottish Premiership. Twists and turns, some clubs and fans thinking there's 3 points on the way, and then there's a twist in the tail, a disputed penalty here and there, managers angry with red cards, but in the end, it's the 3 points that's important. What about Livingston? Did they hold on for the 3 points? Adam Binney was at the Tony Macaroni Arena.
Full time here at the Tony Macaroni Arena. It has finished Livingston 2, Ross County 1, and just listen to that behind me. You can hear what this means to the Livingston fans, because this takes a giant leap towards securing top 6 football post-split for Livingston. They got the opening goal after 37 minutes, came from Joel Newbley. Lovely ball into the box from James Penrice, playing on the right hand side today, delivered it to the back post. Newbley heads it back across goal after out muscling Connor Randall, and the ball just dips into that bottom right hand corner. They got a goal less than a minute later from the captain, an unlikely goal scorer, and Nicky Devlin slams it into that far corner using the outside of his right boot. Livingston controlled the majority of the match, but Ross County got themselves back into it in the 69th minute as Simon Murray bundled the ball in from close range. The goal initially wasn't given, it was ruled out for offside, but after deliberating with VAR, Willie Collum overturned his initial decision and Ross County got themselves back into it. It was nervy moments for Livingston from then on. You could feel the anxiety radiating off the Livy bench. Martindale stomping up and down the touchline for the remainder of the match, but it ended here at the Tony Macaroni Arena. Livingston 2, Ross County 1.
Brilliant. Do you know why I love Adam? Because he gets super excited. And you know what I was like, Ruffy, when I was commentating? I get super excited and I love his enthusiasm for the game. He's the type of guy that if he was a waiter, he could make your starter sound exciting. Ruffy, are you going to have the haggis bonbons or the soup? What are you going to have, Ruffy?
Brilliant. He's brilliant. He's good at what he does. You know, he's super, and he wants to take part in everything. He wants to be involved. He wants to go out there. And it's good that we're giving somebody like that so young a chance to go out there and meet the players, because I think you've got to meet the players so they know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Motherwell 2, Rangers 4. Great game at Fir Park today. Rangers coming out on top. Michael Beale said he thought it should have been a lot more for Rangers in that match. Stuart Kettlewell far from happy with the red card for Slattery as Motherwell were down to 10 men. Aberdeen 3, Hearts 0. What a day for the Dons fans, because they were witnessing Duke coming up with a double in that one, Matty Pollock with the other one. Celtic in the end against 10 men won it by 3-1. Haksabanovic with an absolute belter at the end just to secure all 3 points, but it was 10-man Hibs. I wonder if Lee Johnson's got something to say about the red card in that match for Ewan. But Hibs battled away, hoping to keep Celtic at bay, just couldn't do it. O scored, and then of course up stepped Haksabanovic to make it easy street for Celtic. Elsewhere, Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1. I think Jim Goodwin will be angry at the penalty for St Mirren. He certainly will be voicing that, and we'll be hearing from him hopefully before the end of the show. As you heard from Patrick Mullen, it was Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1. Dre Wright coming back to haunt his old club with an equaliser in that match at Rugby Park. Killie 1, St Johnstone 1. And then, as you just heard there from Adam Binney, it was Livingston 2, Ross County 1. And as I look at that table, there's now only 2 points between Dundee United and Ross County, only 3 between Dundee United and Kilmarnock as well. And then there's that cushion, I think, of 8 points between 9th and 12th. Motherwell will feel as if there's points to be gained elsewhere that could take them away from that playoff or indeed relegation spot.
Yeah, I think they'll be encouraged by parts of the game against Rangers, you know, and there'll be fixtures coming up, but they know that maybe 2 wins would take them right out of the equation, but certainly the 3 now that are stuck at the bottom, they desperately need 3 points.
Yeah, Blackadder says soft red card against Hibs, and we will hear from Lee Johnson on that because you know, at the best of times, many a manager and player will tell you need a bit of luck to go to Celtic Park and Ibrox and somehow pull off a win. Ange Postecoglou's been talking about it because I think there was a mention from Craig Levein saying the SPFL would be better if the two of them got out and went to some kind of new Super League either down south or in Europe. But the facts of the matter, I think, for European football is there are many countries, Ruffy, where one or two teams dominate their league. That's just the business economics of it.
Yeah, you have to get your head round whether yes, I think the league would be more competitive. You would have other people winning things, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, whoever, winning cups, winning leagues. You know, would that bring the crowds back? Would it make it more exciting? I just find Rangers and Celtic bring so much to the table.
Yeah.
They do. You know, if you're a player and you know Rangers and Celtic are coming up to challenge you, you just lift your game and you look forward to it. You look forward to the atmosphere. You look forward to the crowds getting bigger. So it's a hard one to debate. You know, I do appreciate that other clubs will start winning things, but would they get more supporters? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's find out what happened in that match at Tannadice. Dundee United St Mirren. Here's Claire Kinnaird.
It's finished here at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1. It was 3 minutes into the match when the home side took the lead. Stephen Fletcher catches a head ball from Richard Taylor. He controls it and low volleys it right the way into the net past Carson. Dundee United 1, St Mirren 0. Into the second half, United were plagued by injury, having to sub off both Pete Hollett and Jamie McGrath at the same time. St Mirren then equalised from a dangerous free kick, however that was quickly ruled offside, and moments later a foul by Loic Aina on Curtis Main led to a VAR check. Mark O'Hara then equalising from the penalty spot, and Jim Goodwin gets booked a yellow card for him. There were a few final chances for United. Kai Fotheringham hit the post, Matthew Kuju crosses to Ilmari Niskanen, who then put it over the bar, and Freeman puts it right into the arms of Trevor Carson. Just wasn't to be though. Finished here at Tannadice, Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1.
Yeah, and there's a familiar phrase, Jim Goodwin gets booked, and he's the manager now, but Jim Goodwin gets booked because he's raging at the penalty.
Yeah, he's going to be raging. Well, there's no doubt about that. If you listen to Jim after the games, he's very vocal in the referee decisions, whether it's when it goes against him, and we'll have to wait and see whether he's right or wrong.
Yeah, Greg McVeigh makes a great point. Well done to Barry Robson. What an achievement that will be if he can, of course, go on to become the Aberdeen boss. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Kaiser says he's leaning towards Robson for permanent manager. I don't know about you, Ruffy, but if they've got that real drive and ambition, you know, that's not to say that they wouldn't look to the inexperience of Barry Robson. I personally think they've got to go for somebody that changes the mindset at Pittodrie, galvanises the club, and really has, really has a go and instills a confidence in them, and hopefully a manager that understands what a good player is that they can bring in and influence to come up to Pittodrie. And I'm not sure it's Barry Robson for me, although I have to say, you know, as a person, I've got a lot of time for him. I really like him.
Yeah, I think he's got something to offer Aberdeen. Listen to a lot of people, you know, who you don't. Not just judging him on the park, but off the park as well. You know, what his training's like, do the players buy into it? But I think we have to see the list of candidates. We have to see what candidates are out there, and then you can make your mind a wee bit better. You know, if they are any better than Barry Robson, because a lot of them just come up with a CV. Sometimes it doesn't work. Everybody will have an opinion who's on that. I'm sure there will be interviewing people as we speak, but there's no other big names jumped out yet from Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's a big call. You can give us your thoughts on it as well if you're an Aberdeen fan, but I think as a club they really need to get back to being a club with a manager that's, you know, ruthless, has an eye for a player, isn't accepting draws against teams they should be beating. I think Aberdeen are a great club, but whether they can get back to that, whether Barry Robson's the man to do it, It's entirely your opinion on it. You can give us your thoughts on it. Elsewhere, I think with Dundee United getting that solitary point, they're now just 2 points behind Ross County, who lost to Livingston today. Kilmarnock with a draw are a point above County in 10th place, and then Motherwell 5 points ahead of Kelly. They've got 30 and got a bit of a cushion there, but I think that big call going into the top 6 was Livingston, who move up there with that win over Ross County. And I think it's good. They lost out in the last day of the season last season. They won't want that to happen again.
No, they want to be in that top 6, and David Martindale will know how important getting into that top 6 will be. That top 6 will bring money into the club that he can obviously try and offer his players more money, because most of them are leaving, to get more money. So if he got into the top 6, I'm sure that would maybe add maybe 300,000 or 400,000 to his budget for next year. So maybe he could try and convince the other ones to stay.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to bring you more from Michael Beale on that 4-2 win for Rangers over Motherwell. Certainly his immediate reaction was that they should have scored more goals, but it would be great if we could hear more from the Rangers manager, Ruffy, and what he has to say. But what about at Celtic Park? Kerry Pollock was there to watch Celtic eventually break down the resistance from Hibernian.
Full time here at Celtic Park, and scoreline reads Celtic 3, Hibernian 1. This was a story of a red card, 2 penalties, a fantastic header and a wonder strike to seal Celtic all 3 points here this afternoon. The red card came in the 25th minute for Hibernian's Elliot Ewan. Just 5 minutes after receiving his first yellow card, he saw his second, leaving his side down to 10 men. But that wasn't a problem, as it was the visitors that had the lead going into the break. It was Josh Campbell that stepped up to the penalty spot in the 40th minute to hit the back of the net to send the Hibs fans into hysteria. Then in the second half, Celtic fans had something to cheer about. They were awarded a penalty of their own, and this time it was Jota that stepped up to the mark. David Marshall did get a hand to it, but it was the sheer power of the strike that got the score to level terms. And then coming off the bench, striker went sent a powerful header from a corner into the back of the net to send the Celtic fans wild. And then on the 90th minute, it was Sead Taksubanovic also coming off the bench, the subs making the difference here today, to send a fantastic strike, curling effort into the back of the net from 25 yards out. It wasn't easy, but Celtic take all 3 points here this afternoon. Full time here at Celtic Park. Celtic 3, Hibernian 1.
Yeah, always good to see Gabs in the background there. I don't know if you noticed him days gone by. Yeah, he was in the back of Kerry there, but unfortunately took a move downwards and away from PLZ, Ruffy. It's as simple as that. There's no point in mincing our words with him. I had a look at him the other day there. He's putting on a bit of weight as well, Ruffy. I'm going to have a word with him.
Oh, I haven't seen him for a wee while.
Well, I'm going to release some photographs of him when he was with us, and clearly now just sitting in his house chomping popcorn is not good for him.
He always tried to look good as well. He was quite suave.
He was actually, but he's let himself go because he's obviously left the biggest club to join an inferior one. That's what happens, Ruffy. The other thing a lot of people have noticed, Ruffy, as some are surprised that you're here on the Saturday, but they're wondering if eventually you will fall over, because the more you talk to me, the more you go like this.
Tendency to lean forward and sit back.
And then eventually you'll just you'll just keel over and lie there. And we'll continue though. We'll still talk about Scottish football. Give us your thoughts. Refereeing decisions. Clearly angering so many.
Yeah, and again, the benefit we'll be able to look at them again and again and again and again, and then we'll have to come up with a better judgment. But everybody will have their own opinion. The managers will have their own opinion and what they think about it as well. But it'd be good once we see them.
Yeah, absolutely. You can give us your thoughts on any contentious decisions today. What about the overall results and the implications? Celtic restore that 9-point gap at the top over Rangers. Rangers continually grinding out the results and just pushing Celtic, hoping for even just a glimmer of hope before those games. 8th of April is the first one, Celtic against Rangers, and then of course by the time you get to the last game at Ibrox, the league could be done and dusted by then, Ruffy.
Yeah, it certainly could, and when you're in that position, I think Rangers supporters will be looking at that game today and thinking, well, maybe this might just be one of the games that Celtic aren't going to come out winners, but again, they've grinded it out and they've got players in there who just keep going till the end. But no, you're right. the big game's coming up, and unfortunately for Rangers, the next Celtic game is at Parkhead, and they've got a tremendous record there. So it'll be one we'll all be keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, is it critical for Michael Beale? Is he under a lot of pressure, as some have suggested, with these 3 games? Do people start to become, I don't know, do they increase the pressure on him, or do they increase the pressure on the board? Because, as you know, today the Rangers fans said it's time for change. They're not happy with the board. I think they want Douglas Park and his boardroom team to step down. Whether that happens or not, you know, the boardroom can change fans' attitudes if you're winning games, but with Rangers who are winning games, it's just that one vital League Cup defeat that sent quite a few of them over the edge as well.
No, I don't think Beale's under any pressure. I think the record he's had since he's been in has been very, very good. Obviously Celtic have beaten him, but no, I think he should be judged and given a window and given his own money. Again, I don't see the board going anywhere. I don't see anything on record that I mean, I know the supporters think that they've not run the club financially better. They're expecting better players to be brought in with the amount of money they made in that year. So, and that never happened. But who's to say that's not going to happen when the season finishes? Let's wait and see what kind of players or what kind of budget they give Beale to take on Celtic next year.
Yeah, and when you look at the big 2, as Ange Postecoglou mentioned there, it's down to the other clubs now to have a real go, Ruffy, and try and bridge that gap and try and be competitive enough to take points of them. Celtic have only lost to St Mirren, and I was at that game, and St Mirren played really well, had a really well organised side that day. Ange Postecoglou, I think, made 5 changes. But if I'm looking at the teams that have given Celtic and Rangers a go, you automatically hope it's going to be an Aberdeen, a Hearts, a Hibs. You know, the one team that, you know, sometimes can prove to be a sticky game is Livingston at Almond Vale.
Yeah, but I think that the case of that is now becoming less and less now. I think Rangers and Celtic go there, they know what they're going to expect. I think the players know what they're going to expect. You know, they know what's coming along their way, and I think they're controlling it a lot better now, you know. But you're right, we would like a challenge with Hibs and Hearts and Aberdeen in particular, because, I mean, we sat in the show and everybody goes, oh, Tynecastle's a hard place to go to, Easter Road's a hard place, Aberdeen's never an easy place to go to, but now it has been. You know, it has been easy, so it's up to these particular clubs. I don't know what they do. I mean, I know the financial situation at all these clubs is pretty poor because they're all posting losses here and there. So I still think we're going to have to, from a neutral point of view, we're going to have to bite the bullet until they actually get their act together.
Yeah, how we can get, there's a new Scottish football marketing team coming into effect next season, Ruffy. Their job must be more sponsors, more money into the game from people who want to promote the game, and I know we've been involved in the SPFL as well over our 10 years. We need more money in, the clubs need to get more money as well. They need to try and come up with greater attractions to make it a match day experience when they come to the ground, so they can enjoy themselves there and get other activities, very much like American football. So they come there, they enjoy the football, and then they enjoy that pre-match and post-match experience too with their kids. It's got to be a family affair, got to get more money in, and then of course the basics are, you got to develop your talent from your academies, you've got to spend wisely, and then maybe not flood it with too many players from abroad, Ruffy, that really are no better than what you've got in your reserves. I mean, I know it's easy to say that, but we should be looking at trying to get the league in such a structure that allows managers to say, I'm going to play that young Scottish player, he's going to get 100 games with me.
Yeah, it's a big debate. You know, you have to come up with an idea of how to get these players in. You know, I know a lot of them aren't getting a chance to break into the teams now, and they go down one road that the club don't think they're good enough, and that's a debate. They see them coming through their academies, and they're deciding how many they're going to get through in any particular space of time. It don't seem to be that many breaking through at the bigger clubs. I think the bigger clubs now have identified the player that they want to bring in as somebody that from another country who probably not on a big salary. I'm talking about the Australian boys who've been coming in. You wouldn't think they'd be on massive salaries, so that Hearts are dipping into that market because they know they can offer them maybe double what they're on without bursting the bank. So that might be a way to go down. I think Ange has proved that can work if you pick the right players. So maybe that's the road. But again, if, as you said, if you go down that road, what are the younger players saying to themselves? You know, if you keep bringing players in from another country and think they're better than what I am, why am I here? You know, what they've got to make a decision where they go.
I like to see Scottish talent there. It's not being xenophobic. It's just basically, I think there's in every country there's a greater affinity with people who've grown up who, as the fans sing, he's one of our own. You know, the Tottenham fans love Harry Kane. He's one of our own.
Another thing I like seeing, and a lot of clubs are doing it more often, I'm just saying at Partick Thistle we do it, if there's a player on the park in the 11 or on the bench, there's a star against his name, which means he's came through the academy, and he's came through the academy since he was 13 or 14, and fans relate to that. You know, if a young guy has stuck in there and at the end of the day he's going to be part of the first team, that's a fantastic achievement.
Well, you only have to look. I mean, look at Aberdeen with Calvin Ramsey. I mean, as long as you get 100 to 150 games out of them, you get to enjoy that young Scottish player coming through and wearing the jersey. If he's a local boy, even better. Brilliant to see it. I love to see local players go and play for their club. They get a greater affinity with the fans. Now, that said, can I just flip that to offer some sense of balance? There are players that come in from elsewhere who maybe not be Scottish, who really contribute and understand the club, and I give you one player that I think deserves tremendous credit today. He scored 98 goals, and that's James Tavernier, and the goal he scored today, one of his trademark free kicks, an absolute peach.
It was a peach, but if I'm criticising, I'm going to criticise the wall, and I think Liam, once he sees it, you know, he was just a step too far. He just one step. I don't know what he thought. He's never going to curl it into that corner where he was. You know, the only place Tavernier was going to put it was the corner where it went. You know, so I think it was just one step too far for him, and he did get a hand to it, but I thought the wall could have done a lot better. And if you're in a wall, you've got to make yourself bigger. You've got to jump at least, but one jumped and one ducked. You know, and if that's the case in the wall, then the goalkeeper's not got much of a chance.
Okay, Michael Beale was glowing in his praise of his captain.
Yeah, I'd say I laugh and joke with him. He should have had the 100 today, you know, his header and maybe a shot on his left foot. But look, for a fullback, and to get in those attacking positions where he's getting in, he's got to get 70 or 80 yards up the pitch, and I suppose that's what I'm saying. At times you're going to leave yourself vulnerable to allow Tavernier and Barisic when he's here to get up the pitch, Yilmaz today, and no, his contribution's fantastic. You see today a free kick at 1-0 down away from home, he scores, and then 3 or 4 minutes into the second half, a fantastic cross and an assist. So his numbers are fantastic, and that's been like that ever since I've known James.
Fantastic, incredible, because quite simply, I know a number of Rangers fans who are critical of him as a captain when he, you know, when he gets to a situation where he's in a season where Rangers don't beat Celtic to the league title, you know, but this is a guy who, you know, but for a whisker away against Eintracht Frankfurt, you know, everybody looks back at that Ryan Kent chance. Rangers in the Europa League final, he was there in that fantastic run. He stopped Rangers winning the 10. He was a title-winning captain there. They've won the Scottish Cup as well, Ruffy. I think James Tavernier's place in Rangers history should be well and truly appreciated. You know, and to score 98 goals, it's a fullback.
I think he's been the most consistent player in the Rangers jersey for the last 2 or 3 years. There's nobody in Rangers who's put in the continual, consistent performances like him and contributed. And Michael Beale's right here, and he's a full-back, and once he's up and down the park so much, he's in dangerous areas, firing balls in. That means there's a gap behind him, and as long as the people behind him are covering for him and seeing what he's doing going forward, then he's okay. It's when the people behind him aren't covering for him, you know, that's when he came into a lot of criticism because there was a big gap there and people are playing into it. But if you want him, what would you rather have him going forward or defending? I prefer overlapping fullbacks. I like people like him who get into the box and score goals, and I'm sure the guys up front appreciate the areas that he gets into and the ball he puts in the box.
Yeah. Anyway, you can give us your thoughts on Tavernier. Dougie, who picked up our argument on Scottish talent, says Peter, Ayr United academy player who went on to Celtic and he's seen more of a chance playing first team football at Liverpool. Ben Doak. Well, I think Celtic really missed a trick on that one, and I think basically you can't guarantee anybody first team football, but boy, that boy was ripping it up in the reserves, you know, or the under 21s. People looked at him and thought, he's a player. And I think maybe they should have pushed the ball out a wee bit for Ben Doak. It's all right in hindsight when you see him playing for Liverpool and just breaking in every now and then, but you could be proved wrong, because look at Billy Gilmore. He burst onto the scene. Everybody thought, oh, wish he'd have stayed at Rangers, but sometimes they fade away. We don't know. The jury's out in Ben Doak, but I loved it. I love watching him.
Well, it's just the debate we were having a minute ago there. You're a young boy at a certain club, and you have to, when another big club comes in for you, you've got to sit down and look what's on the table and look what the future's going to bring for you. And you would like to think he's getting advised by the right people, you know, and what he's going to do, you know. And there's a lot of things, if you're sitting there, you've got to make up your mind. And I know he's saying, no, I'm not going to get a game here, but there's no guarantee he's going to get a game down south, you know. But you don't know what's on the table, you don't know what's offered, you don't know the contract, you don't know long term. So sometimes you've just got to take a gamble.
Yeah, absolutely. What about this, Ruffy? Catherine Kelly, who's in Spain, says, great job on a Saturday, Alan. Loving the hair. Which again, Catherine, obviously, you know, I know you're a housewife's favourite, Ruffy, but I was down at the same hairdresser as you today, and we were sitting chatting away, and he said to me that he'd said to you, Ruffy, it's time for a new haircut, a different style of haircut, but you just said to him, no, you know, I've had a look at my K-Tel 1970s album and I'm sticking with the mullet. You just weren't going to move from it.
He's putting me under pressure.
He is, he's asking
really,
you.
every time I go in there's more pressure, but I don't know what he could do with it. I really don't. I wouldn't suit short hair. I really wouldn't.
What about a Robbie Nielsen, Ruffy, where you just shave it completely? That would, I think, on here, a lot of people would look and they'd be like, this as the show started. Whoa, wait a minute, Ray Winston's on the show. What's happened?
I'd be like that as well. No, I know once you've got a hairstyle, that's it. You just stick with it. And thanks very much. It's Catherine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Catherine.
Absolutely. Catherine is absolutely delighted with you, Ruffy. That's what happens. There are some people that like Ruffy's the housewife's favourite, not in any way offensive, unlike myself, who I'm here to annoy people and give you the scores over the course of the day. Good win for Rangers, 4-2 over Motherwell. Celtic eventually break down 10-man Hibs and get that 3-1 win and all 3 points to restore their 9-point advantage. But elsewhere, brilliant result for Aberdeen. The Dons 3-0 winners. Matty Pollock off the back of 2 goals from Duke as well. 3-0 against Hearts. Great result. Can the Dons finish third? What do you make of it? Should Barry Robson be given the job as manager? Should people look at a short-term fix, see what he's done, and then give him the long-term job? It's a big call. Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1. Jim Goodwin picked up a yellow card, and you can bet your bottom dollar Jim Goodwin will be mentioning in the post-match discussions about the overall performance of the referee. He didn't think St Mirren should have been awarded a penalty. Mark O'Hara wasn't bothering. He scalped it into the back of the net. Dre Wright came back to haunt his old club. Kilmarnock with an equaliser for St Johnstone. It finished 1-1. And Livingston 2-1 winners, and the goal that won it, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Apparently a special hit from Nicky Devlin.
He's been in the news all week, you know, generally what happens, you know, when people are talking about your future and what you're going to be doing. We know he's a great servant to the club, you know, and you like to see something like that happening to a player like that. He said he's got to move on financially, which is fair enough, and I don't think the club will bother, but that's great that something like that's happened to him.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, Ruffy, and I'm going to make a bold statement to you, and I hope you're going to back it up as well and give me your thoughts on it. But as I look at the league table, Celtic obviously 9 points ahead of Rangers. We know that from way back we've called this as Celtic's going to win the title. but the battle for third now, Hearts are on 45 points, played the same amount of games as Aberdeen, who are on 41. I am going to predict to you that Hearts are just going to hold on by the skin of their teeth to third.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, every team takes a wee downturn in the season. You know, Hearts have had a fantastic season up till now. There's going to be a couple of wee knocks along the road. I know they've got a few injuries out there. I would think when all the players are fit, that they are the better of the other two. And I think they'll be third as well. How many points Hibs behind?
Hibs are a point further back. They're on 40, Aberdeen 41, Hearts 45.
Interesting. I mean, we're all talking about the bottom six when the split comes, going to be good. Top six is going to be as well. For these three teams, it's going to be good. There's 15 points at stake. An interesting point Michael Beale made about the split, saying it's an unfair split. 3 games at home and 2 away. I think he's got a great point there. I agree with that. It's one of the reasons why we should be adding 2 or 4 or 6 teams to the league to make it an even split, that you play same equal amounts home and away, because at the end of the day, when we come to that split, the advantage of having a home game, for Kilmarnock's point of view, is great, because if they get 3 games away from home and 2 at home, they're going to be under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Managers have to make big calls in games. They've got to, live by their wits, watching the game, analysing it if it's going according to plan. And when they make that call, they have to have a positive outcome to justify making that change. And that's what happened between Kilmarnock and St Johnstone today, because Killie were ahead. I don't think Callum Davison was happy at all. And before half-time, which is unusual for a manager, he substituted James Brown. And then in the second half, Saints got the reward with an equalising goal to get a point at Rugby Park. And Callum Davison didn't flinch when everyone asked him about the substitution of James Brown.
Do you know what? I said at half-time could be anything. You know, unfortunately, James was the one that I thought I could be a little bit more attacking in the replacement. James was probably unlucky that I chose him. For me, I could have been any of the start 11.
There you are. I like Callum Davison. Yeah. Anybody could have got hooked.
Yeah, I mean, accordingly, I think Kilmarnock were all over St Johnstone. They're just hitting away to get that second goal. But on numerous occasions, it's very difficult when you don't score that many goals to get that second one. You're always left open for something like that happening today. And it's not the first time it's happened to Kilmarnock, and they'll be ruined. That'll be 2 points at the end, could be very, very crucial.
Martin has said, Peter, are the match stats right that Celtic had 35 shots at goal? Well, the story of the game, Ruffy, was quite simply that Celtic laid siege to Hibs' goal because Hibs were down to 10 men for the whole second half.
Yeah, and I have to say, although you might have 35 shots at goal, a lot of them were poor, a lot of them were over the bar, a lot of them were misjudged, but at the end of the day, the ones that counted hit the back of the net, and that's the important thing. Yeah, I think Hibs just decided to get, say, 2 banks of 4, and made it very difficult for Celtic. And Celtic never wavered. They kept getting the ball wide. They kept putting the ball into the box. I think all credit to Ange. After, I think it was the usual 65 minutes, he knew that the plan wasn't working. And Hibs were doing particularly well, defending any balls up into the box. So he changed it, and he put a new guy in there. He put somebody in there who's different from Kego, that he was going to go and attack the ball. He was going to be different to the Hibs defenders, a different kind of style they would have to mark, and he came up with the goods, and I thought he'd done particularly well. His movement to judge the flight of the ball, to use his upper body strength, he did particularly well to get in there, and it was a good goal.
Yeah, I've just checked here, Martin, and obviously there's about 300 different apps and websites that will offer you it, but my stats here suggest that Celtic had 9 shots on target and 15 off target, so 24 shots, which is still a lot, but the possession they had was...
Let me guess.
What? Possession? On you go then.
81.
79%, Ruffy. You did not bad there.
But you would think that way against 10 men, because the 10 men would be giving you possession and saying, look, what can you do? He hurt us in the latter third. But I mean, 79-80% of Celtic, most games, for Rangers and Celtic are par for the course, because I think the opposition know what they're up against.
And thanks to Des, who says Kiego. Yeah, Kiego is Luke Skywalker's cousin, who obviously was related to Darth Vader. But Ruffy just throws them in every now and then. I think it's from the Star Wars Disney series now, where Ruffy just pulls names out. But Kyogo is the man who's playing for Celtic, and one cleared off the line. Chris Corey says, what's the percentage of your chat that involves the Old Firm compared to other top flight clubs? Well, I think, Chris, if you have a look at the programme, not that I need to defend PLZ Soccer, Ruffy, but if you have a look at the programme in the last couple of weeks, we've had Alan Burrows in a 1-to-1 talking about Motherwell and his future at Aberdeen. We've had John McMaster in a 1-to-1 talking about the Aberdeen run to Gothenburg because it's the 40th anniversary. We've had so much unique video content. We've got a lovely piece coming out tomorrow and a focus on one of the youngest managers in football. I think he's maybe 24 years of age and he's managing Kilsyth, 23 Kilsyth amateurs, and Adam Binney has put together a fabulous piece with him. And next week we've got a brilliant mini documentary coming out on PLZ Soccer that I think you're going to enjoy. We'll tell you about that. So Chris, we cover all the main players, the games, the teams, Ruffy. We're all across the Premiership as well, and I think we give everybody a fair crack of the whip. The difference is sometimes Celtic and Rangers dominate it because they're at the top of the table.
Yeah, I don't think that criticism can be thrown at us. Most of the people I meet away from the show say thanks very much for giving Ayr United a shout, or Partick Thistle, or whoever. You know, we've done that right from day one. And I think the people who should be having a go are the newspapers, who have about 10 pages of Rangers and Celtic before you get to anybody.
Yeah. Chris isn't even happy. Chris isn't even happy with the competition prizes because we gave away a Leipzig top, a Legia Warsaw, a Diego Maradona, a Lionel Messi. I mean, the Modric, we gave away the Real Madrid Modric. I don't know what more we can do to please Chris. Chris is just in a darkened room just throwing darts at you and I, Ruffy. It's as simple as that. He just doesn't like us. Simple as that. I mean, we've given out that many different prizes. And last week, by the way, this competition, right, we're giving away a Maestro top. You can have it in the blue of Chelsea, Rangers, whatever. You can have it in the red of Aberdeen or Liverpool. You can have it in the black of Newcastle or St Mirren. You can have it in the green of Hibs or indeed Norwich or Celtic. Whatever team you support, you've got 4 and you've got 2 posters you can pick from. What more can I do, Ruffy?
Don't let them get to you.
No, exactly. You're absolutely right. You're right, Ruffy. And Paul Brady has absolutely nailed it. He says, just goes to show you can't please everyone, Peter. You're absolutely right. It's a lot of fun. And by the way, Chris, who's absolutely brilliant, says, that's Melbourne for you. You know, one of my best mates went to live in Melbourne, and I really have to go and see him. I'm going to look Chris up as well, just to see what the nick of his house is and what's happening over there. If it's draped in anything other than... I'm dying to know who he supports now, but we'll be over there, Chris, to see you, because I'm going over to see my mate as well. What do you make of the Champions League, Ruffy? We've got managers and players coming up before the end of this programme, and hopefully if you follow our social media, especially on our app, if you download the app, you'll get all the breaking football news, plus you'll be able to see all those interviews from the Scottish Premiership games coming up over the course of the week, and certainly tonight and tomorrow. What do you make of the Champions League draw? It's Real against Chelsea, Benfica Inter, Man City Bayern, Milan against Napoli. And basically from there, Ruffy, as you can see, here are the odds. Man City are 5-2, Bayern Munich 7-2, Napoli 7-2, Real Madrid 6-1, Chelsea 12-1, Inter Milan 12-1, Benfica 14-1, and AC Milan 20-1. I'm amazed Real Madrid are 6-1.
I'm just going to say that. That's not a misprint.
I'm amazed at that. Are you, Ruffy?
6-1. I think if that is the right odds, I think a lot of people, in the evidence of what we saw when they come up against the big sides, they're particularly good. But I think the tie of the round's obviously Man City and Bayern. You know, I think winner of that too. I think the discussion we had was we want to see some of the smaller teams in there. We want to see Napoli in the final. I think we want to see a team like that rather than the two big ones. And the way the draws worked out, that could be the case.
Well, Joseph says he wants to see Napoli against Madrid in the final. That would be fantastic. Napoli for me are a good outside bet, Ruffy.
Well, I just remember the game against Rangers. I thought the games that Rangers played them, they looked fantastic. And they looked fantastic up front. They had wonderful players up there with bags of ability and pace. So, you know, I think they would bring something to a final. They wouldn't if they were drawn against Madrid or even Man City or Bayern. I don't think they would sit in, you know, because they were not one of the big clubs. I think they would give it a go, which would be good for the final.
Yeah. Martin says AC Milan to take Napoli out. Wow, Martin, that's a big call. Napoli are running away with the Serie A. And also, I think Napoli for me, says Nick Watson. Man City are different gravy with Haaland. Peter, I have to say, any team that's got a guy that scores 5 goals, well, I'm not too happy with his manager taking him off. I wanted him to score 6. But I don't know. I think when you look at the semi-finals, Ruffy, Milan-Napoli, the winner of that plays Benfica-Inter. Then the winner
that's one of the outside. Day 4 going to be in the final.
The winner of Real Chelsea plays Man City or Bayern. So one of the biggies is going. You know, 2 of the biggies are going.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting.
And then eventually 3.
It'll be interesting to see which one it's going to be.
Friday the 10th of June, Istanbul, Ruffy, for the final.
Why do they keep getting finals?
I don't know, by the way. I can't speak for them. What about the Europa League? Here's the odds on who's going to win the Europa League. Man United 11-8, Juventus 11-2, Roma 6-1, Bayer Leverkusen 8-1, Sevilla 9-1, Sporting Lisbon 10-1, Feyenoord at 14-1, and USG at 20-1. I've got Juventus for me. Who did you pick?
Roma.
Yeah.
Roma. I really fancy Roma. I don't know why, but I think they're good defensively.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be a great final with Italian teams in it, because they tend to be a bit negative. So let's hope Man United get in there. Yeah,
interestingly enough, Haaland, I think everybody's been raving about him for his midweek performance, Ruffy. But I noticed that Ryan Reynolds, the movie star who is a part owner of Wrexham, sold his technical company, phone company, for £1 billion or $1 billion. And all the Wrexham fans have been tweeting to him, is there any chance you could buy Mbappe and Haaland for Wrexham? Wouldn't that be amazing?
We had that debate a couple of weeks ago. Would you?
What?
If you had £1 billion, if a club that you supported all your life, would you?
What? Put the money in?
I mean,
if I had £1 billion?
Billion?
No, I'd give it to some worthy causes, and then I'd phone you from Barbados, and I'd just say, look, this is a really good line because I've got good broadband here, Ruffy. How are you? Is everything okay? Did you get the plaque that I sent you to commemorate me winning £1 billion? Is that fair?
No, it's not
Ruffy,
fair at all.
I'd take you with me. I'd give you a good hefty. There'd be a wedge for you.
A wedge?
There would be. I'd say, if I won £1 billion, Ruffy, I'd make sure you and Maggie were safe.
Much.
Hey?
Much.
Well,
just so I can get excited about it.
Just in case you win £1 billion. 10 million. Give me 10 million. Is that enough?
10 million would be great.
10 million. That means you keep. Yeah, that means you keep your daughters and everybody all.
And we do the show for Barbados.
Eh? Can I tell you something? Not one person would ever see me again here. It's a stonewall certainty. What about Lee Johnson? Unhappy today at Celtic winning 3-1. This is his thoughts on the performance.
Yeah, I was really proud of the players actually. I thought it was obviously it was a difficult game as you'll get. I thought first half, you know, and second half we was outstanding given all the circumstances, and you know, you have to point fingers at the referee's performance. You have to. How on earth can that be a sending off? You know, physically, I thought it was a foul against Ellie Ewan in terms of he's pinned him early, like centre half sort of pulls him, pushes him. Obviously, he's a strong lad, throws him to the ground. But then the ball, by the time he actually connects with his head, and he does connect with his head, he's blooming like about 5'2", and that's a big player. So it's like he's got his back to goal. You don't know where he is, and he's been out-muscled. Maybe a foul, maybe not a foul. It's definitely not a yellow card.
Well, he's not a happy man.
I would tend to agree with him. I mean, the wee clip that I saw, I would tend to agree 100% the way he's portrayed that. You know, I'd like to have another look at it, obviously, but I think he would be aggrieved by that at that particular time. You know, Hibs were doing okay. They weren't. Everybody was doing their job, and Celtic were finding it very, very difficult to break them down. So yeah, I think he will feel aggrieved by that decision, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it for the next day or two.
But on such decisions, you know, games are won and lost, Ruffy.
Of course, sir.
And one wonders, I'm not suggesting for a minute that Hibs were going to offer a completely different outcome, 11 against 11, but at least you've got a fighting chance. And I think he will be looking at that and saying, that's harsh, it's put us behind the 8 ball. We're then in the second half having to work so hard to try and get something out of the match.
Yeah, I think going down to the 10 men made it even more difficult for Celtic, you know, because they all got behind the ball. It would have been interesting to see what kind of thing that Hibs would have done if they had 11 men, where they still tried to create chances and still tried to get a second goal. But that went out the window when the player got sent off. So yeah, you would like to thought Celtic eventually would have keep continuing to get chances, but it'd been a lot difficult if they had 11 men on the park.
Yeah, down south I can tell you it finished Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0, Brentford 1, Leicester 1. Cracking game between Southampton and Tottenham, 3-3 it finished. And then Wolves 2, Leeds United 4. Big call there for Leeds. Chelsea Everton is 0-0 at the moment. That game was a 5:30 kick-off. We'll hear from hopefully Ange Postecoglou on that win today for Celtic. We have heard from Michael Beale as well, talking about the fact that he felt as if Rangers should have scored more goals. He was very glowing in his praise of James Tavernier, who scored 98 goals for the club now, and I think his place in the history of Rangers is secured, and a lot of people look back with great fondness at what James has done for Rangers. As far as elsewhere at the bottom end of the table, I don't think Jim Goodwin's too happy with the referee either on that 1-1 draw. He didn't feel as if St Mirren should have got awarded a penalty, and he got a yellow card for complaining bitterly about it. And at the end of it, Dundee United had to share the spoils with St Mirren only getting a point.
Yeah, it was crucial they got 3 points. You know, draws down there at this particular time isn't going to save Dundee United, and that'll be a sore one. So that'll be 3 managers that'll be coming into press conferences and not being too happy. I'm dying to hear what Derek McInnes is going to say.
Well, let's hear what he says now.
It's a sore one for us, but I'm going to make sure it's my job to keep my players positive. I'm going to keep myself positive. The fact that the performance was strong against a team who are difficult to play against, and I thought the performance, if we get the break with the decisions and the right decisions made, I think for me it felt like a performance that was should have been a winning performance, and we're going to need all the players to stay positive with that.
Yeah, now if you read between the lines there, he says they've got to get the decisions right, so he's not happy with their equaliser.
And I think I'm right in saying they had a goal disallowed. They had a goal at the beginning of the game.
Vassell disallowed.
You know, so that'll be in the back of his mind as well. I think he controlled himself particularly well there.
Yeah, I think Kilmarnock, for me, Ruffy, and Dundee United are the 2 teams that I feel will be contesting relegation in the playoff. I don't know why, but I feel as if Ross County, with the strikers that they've got, will get goals when it gets down to that playoffs against each other after the split. I think that's going to be huge, and you need goal scorers. And I think Kilmarnock and Dundee United are going to be the ones that are going to be battling it out.
Well, I think we can say now it's going to be between the 3 of them, you know, and that's what we were talking about earlier there, when that split comes. So it'll be interesting to see which of the 3 of them have 3 games at home and 2 away, you know, because we've already looked at Kilmarnock's away form, and it's horrendous. So you've got to guarantee that they're not going to pick up many points away, so they're going to be under pressure. But you're right, goal scorers are the ones that are going to save them, and it depends which 3 of them have a goal scorer in the team that's going to take them out of the trouble.
Yeah, David Russell says it's good to have Ruffy on the Saturday show. McManus is like a chihuahua at an airport. I've never seen a chihuahua. never seen a chihuahua at an airport, but if you can send pictures if you've taken any, David, that would be fantastic. It's always good to get you in every now and then. You were regular, 10 years, Ruffy.
Yes.
My God, we were on this show having good laughs.
We had a 4-hour show.
We had a 4-hour show.
4-hour show.
Yeah.
It was great. It was brilliant. It was super.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I had a great line there. I'm not going for it, Ruffy. I'll go for it in the book. When I write the book, I'm going to leather everybody that I've got on a wee list, and quite a few of them will know it's coming as well. I might actually phone them and say, by the way, the book's out, you're on page 58.
Now, what you usually do is when you go into a bookshop, you know you might be in it. You look at the index.
Yeah.
Because you go at the back of the book and you get the index and you look at your name and you see what pages that you're on.
Of course, you've done that before, haven't you?
Yeah, I like to know. Well, I looked at a couple of books you had in there. We had, what were the books you had? Walter Smith's book?
Yeah.
What other books did you have?
I had Brian Clough's book.
I wasn't in that one.
Billy Meat-Neil's.
I was in Billy Meat-Neil's, yeah, a couple of pages.
Yeah, you were in that. And there was another one which is probably, was it Fergie's?
Fergie's, I'm in Fergie's one, yeah, because he's obviously talking about the Jim Leighton, the contact lenses and that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always good to see if you're in...
I tell you, I shared the room with Jim Leighton.
Yes, you did. Don't tell us that story though, because clearly from my point of view, I want us to actually stay on air. So well done with that, Ruffy. It's such a good story. I had to actually force you into telling that great story, Ruffy, but nevertheless, still good fun. Alan Ruff with me, Peter Martin. Always delighted to have your company on a Saturday afternoon, whether you live on British shores or indeed quite far away, because the one thing we do have, Ruffy, on a Monday to Friday, we have 4 o'clock till 5, a live show which you can watch at your leisure anytime. There's some lovely photographs of people who put the programme up on YouTube on their telly. The smart televisions now, they can watch us on the telly again. We don't need terrestrial television anymore. We've got our own channel, we've got lots of great content on it, and people are enjoying it.
Yeah, and it's great. I really love I love the people from here, but I like people from abroad who are getting a kick out of what we're supplying for them, you know. And I think, and I've said this on numerous occasions, if I'm away on holiday for whatever, if you're a football fan, you want to keep in contact, you want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, and it's at the disposal now on phones with the technology, and it's great. You don't have to rush about if you're away abroad trying to find a newspaper that's 3 days old.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can download the app and you get all the breaking football news. Well, Dundee United looked as if they were heading for a 1-0 win. It didn't quite work out that way. It ended up 1-1 with St Mirren. Here's the Dundee United manager, Jim Goodwin.
You know, I don't mind my team conceding goals when you get cut open or someone does a moment of brilliance, but you know, the penalty is just so soft, and obviously I've got to be very careful with what I say, because I've got a suspended sentence, if you like, hanging over me from comments I made in earlier part of the season. But you know, I'm finding it very hard to bite my tongue with that one, especially with having the benefit of VAR. You know, I've seen a couple of angles now and I can't see any contact whatsoever. People might say, oh, it's clever from the St Mirren centre forward, but I mean, I don't know what my centre half is to do in that situation. He's hardly touched him, and for that penalty to go against is a real bitter pill to swallow, because I feel as if it's been 2 points snatched away from us.
Well, and that's the point I'm making, Ruffy. VAR is supposedly there to get a greater percentage of decisions right, and we still have a manager not happy.
Again, we'll have to have a look. We'll have to look at it, because sometimes managers see things different from everybody else, and quite rightly so, because their livelihoods are at stake. You know, and decisions like that, if he's right in what he's saying that they are wrong, it can affect so many people's livelihoods. So it is crucial that we get these decisions right.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite a lot of people, I mean, Danny says Kilmarnock and Dundee United will go down, Ross County will turn into Inter Milan during the split, and just obviously get away from that danger area. Whether that's the case or not, who knows. But on the day, it was a 4-2 win that kicked us all off at Fir Park for Rangers. And elsewhere, it was Aberdeen 3, Hearts 0, Celtic 3, Hibs 1, Dundee United 1, St Mirren 1. It was Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 1, and then at the Tony Macaroni Arena, Livingston held on for a 2-1 win over Ross County, and I think the manager David Martindale was well happy with his team's performance. Here he is talking about James Penrice.
It's quite funny because I think he took a bad touch 5 minutes before it. He's tried to take a touch with his left foot when he should have been his right on his left, and it's bobbled over him. Somebody shouted for the stand. That's what you get for playing a left back at right wing. Alright, cheers. Cheers for the support. Next one, bang, puts a ball in with his left foot for Joe Newbley to back post. I've turned around, I'm looking for him. I said, that was a leg back.
That is absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
It's fantastic, you know, and the grade he's talking about. Penrice, another Partick Thistle Academy player, and they're getting the benefit of him, and quite rightly so. He's a smashing boy, but that's what you want to see interviews like, don't you? You want to see managers being happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just tell you, and I think it's only right and proper that we do, coming out next week on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, we have my story, a day in the life of David Martindale. Basically, the Livingston boss gave us access all areas, and we've put together a mini documentary from him getting up out of bed in Edinburgh, getting in the car, heading out to Livingston, and the training and everything, and the tactics ahead of that game against Ross County. And it's all worked out well with that win today against Ross County. So that documentary, Ruffy, I'm really looking forward to seeing. It's going to be out next Friday, and we have to thank Livingston Football Club and David for the access that they gave us. It was absolutely brilliant, and I think you'll enjoy it. And if you think that bit was funny, Ruffy, you want to see him when our cameraman gets a wee bit too close to him and he gives him absolutely what for. It's brilliant.
It's just a pleasure to see him being interviewed. He brings a breath of fresh air to Scottish football. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. You know, he's a great guy.
He's an absolutely fabulous guy. I can tell you it's still Chelsea 0, Everton 0 in that Premier League match down south. But in the Scottish Premiership, we've given you the main scores from the lower leagues. Ruffy, it was a big day. Partick Thistle Dundee did not need a 0-0 draw.
No, they didn't. There was an opportunity for Partick Thistle to win that game and go second in league. Put a wee bit of pressure on Queen's Park, but Queen's Park have come up with it again. And they've got another home game against Arbroath, you know, and it's catch up now for everybody. So it looks as if it's a playoff place for the rest.
Yeah, Queen's Park, big win, win over Inverness, isn't it?
And that's three promotions in a row?
Yeah, what a story
fantastic.
That is.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm absolutely delighted that we always, at the end of a programme, just as per the terms of his contract, Ruffy, we have to speak to Adam because he likes to be on the show regularly. Adam, we have just literally announced that we're going to have the documentary with David Martindale. You and I were there with him, and isn't it great that we had that fly-in-the-wall documentary and he posts a win over Ross County? It caps off a perfect week for us before we release the documentary.
Yeah, having spent the week with Davey, I can't lie, I'm absolutely buzzing for him. I'm delighted. He said that after Christmas Eve, when he lost 4-1 to Hibs, he went home and ruined Christmas. Just talking to him about what that now means for his home life. He's going to go home, and he says he's going to have a delightful evening. He's looking forward to Mother's Day tomorrow. He's just, honestly, Peter, you've seen it during the week. Davey's a great guy. I'm absolutely delighted for him today. That's a massive result for their pursuit of top six as well. For Ross County, it's starting to look a little bit bleak at the bottom of the table, but for Livingston, huge result, and couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, and just before we go, Adam, obviously all the Livingston players got together and we had a mini football challenge. It didn't quite go according to plan for you. We signed you on the basis that apparently you were the greatest ever young player of all time, but you made a complete back end of it. It's going to be a really embarrassing, tough week for you.
Peter, Davey walked through the doors of the press conference, didn't say a word about the game. The first thing he said was, Adam, you're banned, you're not coming back. You've embarrassed yourself, you've embarrassed the company, and you've embarrassed your family. Right in front of all the other journalists, everyone was asking what happened, so I had to show them some of the video footage. I'm sure our lovely viewers will be blessed with that soon as well. I'll basically dribble through 3 cones, go in the first one, second one's fine, third one, stand in the middle of the cone. I'm like shaking my boot about, can't get the cone off the boot, fall over, all the Livy players are laughing, the whole first team squad on the halfway line taking the absolute mick out of me, and Davey made sure I was absolutely reminded of that once again today.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, Adam, great to chat to you, of course. I'm looking forward to it because he worked really hard on that documentary, and the whole PLZ soccer team, and it's coming out on Friday. I hope you enjoy it. What a day. Started off brilliantly at the 12:30 kick-off where Rangers got that 4-2 win over Motherwell, grinding it out, and of course James Tavernier superb 98 goals for the club, and another superb free kick. Celtic battled away against 10-man Hibs, and got a special goal. It looked as if it was going to be the winner to make it 2-1 for Celtic, but check out Hakshabanovic's goal. It's a strike worthy of winning any game. Celtic fans home happy with their win. Dundee United, not a happy manager in Jim Goodwin. Kilmarnock equally so, because both those teams shared 1-1 draws. Aberdeen absolutely superb, with Duke scoring 2 goals and the Dons getting all 3 points against Hearts. Fabulous for Barry Robson. Is it enough to get him the job permanently? We'll ask that question on Monday's show. And Livingston, as Adam mentioned there, with a 2-1 win over Ross County. We're covering all the Scottish Premiership, trying to give you as much information and unique video content across all our platforms. Stay on our social media and you'll hear more from the managers, including Ange Postecoglou, from everyone on the PLZ soccer team, from Ruffy coming in here on a Saturday afternoon. It's like old times. Thanks to Ruffy. From myself, Peter Martin, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.